is up, everyone, and welcome back to more Katawa Shoujo. In the previous recording, we finally locked ourselves into Emi's route and began seeing the beginnings of that, with Hisao and Emi going on their morning runs and starting to bond over that a bit. Started going on little lunch dates with Emi and Rin. Very sweet, very nice. We have yet to see any real drama hit the story yet, but believe me, it's coming. So yeah, I think nothing really major besides that had really happened quite yet. I believe where we're picking up is just shortly after one of their early morning workouts. Make it back to my room and shower in record time. It occurs to me that I've already been up for hours and class hasn't even started yet. It is going to be a really, really long day. I hope I don't fall asleep in class. Morning sunlight streaming through my window wakes me up instead of my alarm, and I realize that it must be Sunday. Emi has kindly deigned to give me weekends off from our morning runs. I don't actually know if I woke up at all yesterday or if I just slept through the entire day. My legs groan in protest as I lever myself out of bed. All this running is really taking it out of me. Still, I can't deny that Emi wasn't lying to me. It has gotten a little easier. I've been worried that the runs would start to wear on my nerves. Thus far, I haven't minded them that much. Well, it's only been a week. I suppose there's plenty of time for me to start dreading the sound of my alarm in the morning. Not that I could ever skip out now. As Emi said, it's hard to stop a routine when there's another person. And frankly, I don't think I'm equipped to deal with the disappointed Emi. She's probably giving those puppy dog eyes and I feel terrible about myself. Which reminds me, wasn't I supposed to be somewhere today?
Hey, you're coming to my track meet on Sunday, right? What am I talking about? Of course you are. Right?
Those puppy dog eyes again. Of course I'm going. I owe you, right?
Exactly. So don't forget, okay?
Crap, Emi's track meet. I better get a move on if I don't want to miss her running, since she's the only reason I'm even considering going. Otherwise, it would defeat the whole purpose of going. And so I soon find myself quite suddenly surrounded by a crowd of people, all trying out to see our track team compete with another school like this one. I admit it, it's almost comforting to know we're not the only school like this. After you see that there can be two schools with a bunch of defective kids, well, stop feeling so defective. You also stop feeling unique, which in most cases would be a bad thing, but in this case it sure as hell isn't. That's part of Yamaku's appeal, I guess. Learning that you're not unique. Hell, learn there's a lot of others who would kill to be saddled with your problems instead of whatever they're dealing with. Some of the kids here aren't here because they're missing a leg or they have a heart condition. Some of them might be here because they're as good as dead in 2, maybe 3 years if they're lucky. And that's only if they get the right sort of care. It's a bitter sort of comfort to be able to say, well, at least I've got a chance of being alive through college, but there it is. I brought out my rather morbid musings by the appearance of Rin near the entrance to the bleachers. You came. Of course. I said I would, didn't I? That doesn't necessarily imply that you had to follow through. Lots of people say things that don't mean them. Well, I don't. Rin shrugs. Seemingly bored with our conversation, she turns on her heel and heads back toward the stands. I owe Emi money now. Why is that? I didn't think you'd show up. Emi did. So I owe her 500 yen. You two bet an awful lot, don't you? Another shrug from my armless companion. I don't think so. We enter the bleachers and Rin nods upwards. Up there. Came out to see if you'd come. For the bet, I presume. Rin leads the way and soon we've settled down on an almost empty bench. There's an older woman sitting next to Rin. Someone's mother, I assume. She's got rather long hair done up in a braid. On seeing Rin, she gives her an oddly familiar seeming grin. Well, this is surprising. I thought you went to get a snack, not a boy. Huh? A snack? I wondered why I was down there. The woman laughs again in a way that seems familiar. Where have I seen her before? Well, I suppose you've always been one to go out for one thing and bring back another. But I'm being rude. I haven't introduced myself. I'm Meiko Ibarazaki, Emi's mother. Pleased to meet you. Well, that explains it. She's like a taller, older, and better endowed Emmy. Apart from her hair being a darker shade than Emmy's, there's really no mistaking the resemblance. Sorry, I'm Hisao Nakai. And really, you don't have to apologize for not introducing yourself, Mrs. Ibarazaki. That's really Rin's job in this situation, isn't it? Another laugh from Emmy's mother. I take it you've not known Rin for that long, then. It's best not to expect her to remember something like that. She's got other things to think about, I assume. Rin nods, seemingly pleased by this assessment. She's right. I was thinking about sunsets. You see, it's really up to us to make introductions and the like. For lack of any better response, I nod. Mrs. Ibarazaki leans back a little on her seat and raises an eyebrow. So how long have you and Rin been dating? My response consists of silence as my brain suddenly lurches into gear. Just before I can begin to utter a hastily babbled explanation, Emmy's mother bursts into laughter again. Ha! You're a blusher, aren't you? I don't know if there's any way to keep my dignity in this situation, so I settle for a mumbled response. Maybe. So this must be a new romance then, mustn't it? Wait, that's not the question that... Another laugh. I know, but it's funny to watch you squirm. I'm sorry, forgive an old woman her amusements. Old woman? She sure doesn't look like that old to me. Clearly Amy gets her youthful features from her mother. I suppose I can let it go. How kind of you. It's starting. I direct my attention to the track where they're preparing for the first sprint. Looks like the 400-meter dash. My eyes scan the runners before finding Emmy. She's smiling, with an almost cocky look on her face. The starter raises his pistol. Emmy explodes off the block, disappearing from the starting line in a blur. It's amazing. Even as the other sprinters converge on the lanes closest to the inside line, Emmy surges to the front of the pack. By the time she rounds the final turn, some of the other runners have caught up with her. Their efforts come to naught, though, since a final burst of speed from Emmy leaves them at least half a second behind. Mrs. Ibarazaki whoops and shouts, applauding wildly, and generally looking like any other parent cheering on their child. Emmy bounds off the track, looking pleased with herself. I cheer right along with the rest of them. The announcer, sounding suspiciously like Misha, gleefully gives the results. I think she's gotten faster since the last time. That was incredible. Mrs. Ibarazaki grins proudly. Emmy's a heck of a runner. We fall silent as the next event is being prepared. I'm surprised to see Emmy striding out into the track again. Wait, didn't she just run? Emmy's mother nods. Yes, but she runs multiple events for the team, especially the sprints. It's a lot of running, but Emmy can handle it. From the looks of things, she's right. Emmy doesn't appear to be tired, as if she hadn't run the previous event at all. If not for the sweat visible on her shirt, you'd never know. Which event is this? It's the 200-meter dash. She'll do this one, the 100-meter, and the relay. I see. Once again, the pistol sounds, and once again, Emmy flies off the block. A thumping sound draws my attention away from the race. It's Rin's foot. She seems completely absorbed in the race. Emmy's mother cheers again, and I assume that the race is over. Sprints don't seem to me like they take very long to complete. Your foot. Your foot was bouncing on the bleachers. You seem pretty into this stuff. I'm surprised. Rin looks at me quizzically. Why wouldn't I be? No reason. I just thought stuff like sports wouldn't interest you. I suppose you're right. It's not that interesting. But I'm watching Emmy, not the sport. I don't follow. Emmy's the most Emmy when she runs. You don't get to see Emmy at her Emmyest very often. But here, you can. See? She directs my attention toward the track again, where the 100-meter dash is about to start. I watch Emmy closely. As she gets onto the starter blocks, her whole body seems to relax, but it's a false relaxation. I can see that she's actually like a coiled spring. As the starter tells everyone to get set, her head snaps up and her eyes narrow slightly. Love that fucking grin. Her mouth curls upward in what could be a grin and could be a growl. When the pistol goes off, it's as if she's been unleashed from a cage. Like she was always moving at this blinding speed, but we couldn't see it happening until the starter's pistol dispelled the illusion of motionlessness. It's all over in a few seconds, but in those few seconds, I feel like I just witnessed something very personal for Emmy. As soon as she crossed the finish line, the fierce look was replaced by her normal grin. The conquering general returning to his farm. Amazing. It's really amazing. I've never seen anyone move that fast. Oh, don't look at me. I'm far too relaxed to run that fast. No, I think Emmy's prowess all came from her father's side. At the mention of Emmy's father, Mrs. Barazaki looks wistful, almost sad. He got her into running, you know. Yeah, she told me. I'm uncertain as to whether or not it would be rude of me to ask after Emmy's father. After that look on her face a few days ago, I feel compelled to ask. Where is her father now, if I might ask? Emmy's mother hesitates, clearly not willing to answer the question, but at the same time, not wishing to appear rude. He isn't around anymore. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring up bad memories. Emmy just seemed a little sad when she mentioned him earlier. That's not surprising, considering. They were very close. I see. A beeping noise suddenly emanates from Mrs. Ibarazaki's pocket. Reaching into it, she pulls out a cell phone and looks at it. Honestly, text messages? What is he, 16? Oh, nothing. I've got to go meet up with a friend of mine. Will you tell Emmy I'm very proud of her and that I'll call her later tonight? Of course. I'll admit that I zone out for a while. I almost don't notice that the relay is about to begin. When I look, I can't find Emmy. I thought Emmy would be running the relay. She runs the anchor. So she won't be running for a while yet. Ah. Did you see it? Huh? Emmy at her Emmyest. Maybe. Maybe this time. The race begins and I cheer Emmy's teammates along as they pass the baton. Finally, I see Emmy sprinting onto the track to take the final handoff. Once again, I'm taken aback by how graceful she looks when she runs. It really is beautiful. The look of determination and fearlessness on her face only adds to the picture. Emmy at her Emmyest, I suppose. But then, as she crosses the finish line, I see her stumble slightly. It's only barely, but it's a definite stumble. Rin inhales sharply and actually looks concerned for a second. Aw, Emmy. Did she hurt herself, you think? You noticed it too? Must be bad. She frowns as if deciding on the next course of action. Eventually, that proves to be too tiresome, and she shrugs again. Well, let's go down. Gotta crown the victor. See if you can find a laurel branch. That's not gonna be easy. Rin shrugs. At least we tried. Well, we didn't really try all that hard. Or at all, but hey, whatever. Emmy is surrounded by her teammates, all of them congratulating her on the run. Rin seems to be waiting for Emmy to notice that she's arrived. Oh yeah, I guess she can't exactly wave Emmy over. Then again, I'm not sure that Rin would do such a thing even if she had arms. Doesn't seem her style to draw attention to herself, or to emote beyond shrugging. Either way, I'm not willing to wait, so I wave to Emmy, who looks up and grins happily at me. Us.
Hey, you showed up. Guess Rin owes me money, huh?
I would have brought you a crown of laurels, but he said I didn't find one. Hey, neither did you. It wasn't my job to look. When did we assign jobs? When I said, see if you can find a laurel branch. Try to keep up. Nice shrug. Guess Rin's rubbing off on me. Seems it's my fault after all, Emmy. Emmy laughs at Rin and me.
It's okay. I'm sure you'll make it up to me somehow.
Sure.
Good. So how'd I look?
I stopped myself from blurting out beautiful or amazing and settled for the substantially safer, very impressive. Emmy seems pleased with this assessment. I don't mention how much more impressive her performance is given her lack of legs. I figure she knows that already. Besides, it seems like it would take away from her efforts somehow.
Great to hear. I was worried that I looked a little slow on the relay, but I guess I did fine, huh?
Actually, I noticed Rin kicks me and keeps me from finishing my sentence.
What's that all about?
You noticed it at the end.
That's no good. Guess nurse will look at it for me later.
There's a carelessness in her voice if it isn't a big deal, but I suddenly notice a slight twitch on her face, and she's trying to hide the fact that she's in pain. It's then that I notice her breathing is a little shallow, too. I guess she really is hurt. She must notice my concern because she skips up to me and gives me a friendly pat on the shoulder.
Hey, you look a little worried. I'm fine, really. Just sore from all the running is all. Come on, a little pain isn't going to stop me.
Oh no? Emmy grins, and for a moment she looks like she did during her sprint, fierce and unconquerable. Or to put it another way, really beautiful.
Hasn't yet.
Well then, I guess I shouldn't worry, huh?
Damn right. I'm Emi Parazaki, fastest thing on no legs, and I don't stop for anything.
Impressive. Emmy giggles, and then she seems to remember something.
Oh, before I forget, Rin and I are going to do something next Sunday as a post-track meet celebration. You should come along. Normally we do it the day after, but since track meet was on a Sunday, I've got homework and class and all that stuff to take care of. Plus our morning run, of course.
Right, of course. Alright, your mom wanted to say she's proud of you. She'll call you later tonight.
I thought I saw her in the stands. I'm glad she made it. Used to be my dad who showed up to my meets, but mom's done a pretty good job of taking over.
She shivers slightly, and I realize that she's still all sweaty. The breeze has started to blow, too. I'm not cold at all, and I've got my jacket with me. Without a word, I throw it around her shoulders. Emmy jumps slightly and then grins at me.
Hey, thanks. It's getting a little cold, I guess.
Yeah, looked like it. Just as I begin to wonder whether or not giving Emmy my jacket could be taken the wrong way, a boy in a track uniform approaches. Hey, Emmy, going to miss the medal ceremony.
Oh yeah, thanks.
She turns to Rin and myself.
You don't have to stick around for this part. It takes forever. Besides, you should get cracking on your homework now if you don't want to be up late, Hisao. Morning run tomorrow. Don't forget.
How could I?
Good point. I mean, it's spending time with me after all.
With this, she waves quickly and dashes off to receive her medals, or whatever they pass off as a medal these days. Rin and I head away from the track, Rin remaining deep in whatever thoughts she has for most of the walk back to her dorm. As I see her off, she speaks up. You're probably not getting that coat back, I think. I'm sure I'll get it back eventually. Interesting. Take it as it comes, huh? Very Emmy-ish. With this odd statement, she turns and heads into the building. Honestly, was it that big of a deal? Emmy was cold and, unless I'm mistaken, in pain. Giving her a solution to at least one of those problems seemed like an obvious reaction. Well, I guess there is a chance I could lose my jacket if Emmy never remembers to return it. I guess Rin has a point. Still, can't bring myself to muster much worry over the whole thing. After all, it's been getting warmer lately. I don't need a jacket. Odd. I think I used to be a little more responsible with my stuff. Emmy-ish, huh? Yeah, that's not really a bad thing. Hell yeah. You haven't been forgetting to take your medicine, have you? I'm catching a little murmur. You should take it easy for a few days. The nurse's words hurt me far more than the exhaustion of the morning run ever could. Take it easy for a few days. I knew I should have kept quiet. Keep my eyes on the floor, feeling like a complete idiot. Of course, I hadn't been remembering to take my medicine. I've been rushing out of my room to get to the track before Emmy. After the track meet a few days ago, I felt inspired. So I've been running warm-up laps in the morning before Emmy shows up. But then today, while she and I were running, I felt a little pain in my chest. It was only slight, it was only for a second, so I mentioned it to the nurse. Honestly, it wasn't that bad. I mean, I kept running and finished just fine, so really it couldn't have been that bad. Why do I feel like I'm making excuses to the nurse? Moreover, why do I feel the need to justify continuing to run despite the pain? Really, it comes down to my being unwilling to concern Emmy, who seemed concerned anyway. I'm not sure how she was able to tell that there was anything wrong, but she claims I stumbled a little. She's the one who insisted I tell the nurse, so now I feel bad for worrying her at all. The nurse is shaking his head ruefully while Emmy paces outside the room. Isao, I know it's difficult for you to get into a new routine, but if you don't want to find yourself in a lot of trouble, you're going to have to try harder. You can't afford to forget your pills, and you can't push yourself too hard. But if I don't push myself, how will I improve? I don't know where that came from. The nurse seems to have an idea. Now, where have I heard that before? He laughs and pats me on the shoulder. Ha! She's rubbing off on you, I guess. His expression changes again, and he's back in serious mode. Look, I'm not saying you shouldn't push yourself. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be taking your medication, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't stop if your chest starts to bother you. I'd prefer not to have any fatalities while I'm on staff here. Bit of a lofty goal to be sure, but I'm always up for a challenge. I hate to admit it, but I think he's right. I've got to remember to take my medication. You're right. I'm sorry to worry you. Who's worried? You're a smart kid, right? I know you can be responsible, Isao. In a situation like yours, you've got to learn to be responsible fast. I know. His expression suddenly becomes devious. I suppose you've started to enjoy your runs with Emmy then, huh? Yeah, they've really been helping me. I mean, until today I was feeling a lot more healthy. Plus, it's really impressive to see Emmy run. Did you see her at the track meet? She was incredible. The nurse nods, grinning all the while. That she was, Isao. I watched her first couple of races before I had some business to take care of, but she told me all about it. Kind of you to loan her your jacket, by the way. Huh? Oh, yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal. I'd honestly forgotten all about that. Still haven't gotten it back. The nurse gets a smile that makes me feel like he's just made a joke. Not to you, but Emmy certainly appreciated it. And I know she appreciates you running with her in the mornings. This one catches me off guard a little. Sure, she mentioned that it's easier to keep it to a schedule with an extra person, but I didn't think that I was doing her a favor at all. I thought she was doing me the favor of helping me follow the doctor's orders. She tries harder when you're around. If there's someone else running with her, she's gonna push herself even more. And she tries even harder when you're around because, well, it's you. The heck does that mean? Oh, you'd love to know, wouldn't you? He laughs in the style of evil megalomaniacs. No, seriously, it's because you're her friend. If Rin ran with her, I'm sure she'd do the same. Well, probably. But that's not the point. The point is, you're helping her, even if you don't know you are. And she's grateful for that, even if she never says it. What do you mean, even if she never says it? Emmy doesn't talk a lot, but she and I have known each other for long enough that I can read her most of the time. I'll admit it, I have no idea what he's talking about. Emmy always seems pretty talkative to me. I see. The nurse suddenly realizes that he's been rambling and stops talking, looking a little embarrassed. Anyway, you don't have to stop your morning exercise. Just walk the track instead of running for a few days. Let things calm down. And take your damn medicine. I laugh as I exit the office, bumping straight into Emmy. Whoops, sorry about that.
Are you okay? What did the nurse say? Do you need to go to the hospital? Oh my gosh, it was my fault, wasn't it? I've been pushing you too hard, haven't I? I'm a horrible person.
The words pour forth like a torrent. She's really agitated. I didn't expect her to be this concerned about me, to be honest. Gotta calm her down, but how the hell do I do that? Do the only thing I could think of. Give her a hug. Emmy tenses up slightly, so I pat her on the head in what I hope is a reassuring manner. Hey, settle down. I'm fine, okay? No worries. I can feel Emmy's body relax as I continue to assure her I'm fine. Her arms wrap around me as if she's trying to confirm that I'm not about to fall over dead. I catch a whiff of her hair. It smells like sweat, or how adrenaline should smell. It's the scent of activity. And a hint of strawberries. From her shampoo, I suspect. Just need to remember to take my medicine, that's all. Don't worry about it. It's not your fault.
You sure?
Her voice is muffled, mostly because at the moment her face is pressed into my chest. Yeah, I'm sure. Just need to take it a little easy for the next few days. It suddenly occurs to me how close the two of us are. It also occurs to me how nice being this close feels. I can feel Emmy's heartbeat calm me down. I have to resist the urge to rest my chin on top of her head.
Thank goodness. You really had me worried there, Hisao.
Emmy, you gonna come in here anytime soon? Oh, I'm sorry. Was I interrupting? The two of us spring apart as if the other just caught fire. Emmy brushes her hair back nervously and laughs.
Of course not. I'll, see you later, okay? Oh, and Hisao? Take your damn medicine.
This last phrase is punctuated by a punch to the shoulder. Yeah, I'll remember. See you later. The nurse smiles again like he's in on some joke I don't know about and waves to me as I head for my room, feeling a burning in my cheeks. I need a shower. A cold one, if the thoughts running through my head now are any indication. She was really soft. My pills are waiting for me when I make it to my room. I swallow them without a second thought. I don't know why I didn't think of waiting until after the runs to take them. For some reason I figured it was when I woke up or not at all. But no, they only need to be taken every 24 hours. The exact time of day doesn't factor into it. My thoughts drift back to the hug in the hallway. It's weird. You'd expect someone to smell foul after a run, but for some reason, Emmy smelled right. That tinge of sweat just seemed to fit her. I really need that shower. Strange that it feels so natural for me to go up to the roof these days. I never would have done such a thing in my old school. In those days, I liked to eat alone. No, that's not quite true. Though I like to sit alone, I also like to watch people. I always figured that was the sort of person I was, but it appears I was wrong. Then again, I also thought I was the sort of person who had a normal heart, so there you have it. I don't know myself that well. Now I'm on the roof so I can have lunch with a couple of people. And they're both girls, which is even stranger. Oddly enough, I feel closer to Emmy and Rin than I felt to anyone at my old school. Somehow I get the feeling they'd at least visit me if I wound up in the hospital. I focus on the view from the roof, banishing such thoughts from my head. There's a light breeze blowing and the sun is shining high in the sky. The sky itself is a deep blue, with hardly a cloud in it. It's gotten pleasantly warm, and as I sit down to wait for my friends, I close my eyes and enjoy the feeling of the sun seeping into my skin. Voices intrude upon the edge of hearing.
Seems to have fallen asleep on us, Rin.
Maybe he's faking, to lull us into a false sense of security.
Why would he do that?
No idea.
Still, you make a good point. We should kick him or something to make sure he's really asleep.
Huh? What? Amy looks over me like only a short girl can, peering at me intently.
Oh, you're awake. I guess we don't have to kick you then.
Was it part of your master plan? What are you talking about? Emmy shrugs, her twin tails bouncing with the motion.
I'm not sure either. You must be pretty tired to fall asleep out here. Although it's pretty comfortable, I suppose.
She flops down next to me and begins to eat. Rin sits opposite from the two of us, a move which only makes me more aware of the girl sitting next to me. If I didn't know any better, I'd swear Rin did it on purpose. I concentrate on my food, trying to tune out the majority of the conversation that Rin and Emmy are having. Despite my best efforts, however, I still find myself glancing over at Emmy whenever she speaks. I notice how she purses her lips when she's thinking about something, squinting slightly as if that would improve her thinking ability. Rin says something that makes Emmy laugh, and I notice, perhaps for the first time, how she laughs with her whole body, rocking back and forth, head thrown back, almost like she's about to fall over. I probably look like a creep. It's about this time that I realize Emmy's looking at me, her voice raised, slightly, so she's probably just asked me a question. Huh? Sorry, I kind of zoned out for a moment there. Emmy rolls her eyes while a slight quirk of the eyebrow is the only sign that Rin's even paying attention.
I said, did you get a career survey in your class too? You know, one of those, what do you want to do after high school things.
I don't think so. Maybe we'll get one tomorrow.
What are you going to put down?
That's a really good question. I guess I always figured I'd go to college after high school, but I have no idea what I'd do once I got there. And with the heart attack and all, I've really been concentrating on each day as it came rather than making long-term plans. And I suppose I can safely start planning ahead again. I've always liked having at least a vague plan for my future, so it'll be nice to come up with one again. Of course, that doesn't change the fact that right now I've got absolutely no clue. I was kind of assumed I'd figure it out in college, that I'd just become a salaryman. That's pretty popular. But do I really want to? That's a tough question. I guess I don't really want to do anything.
You don't sound very excited about that one, do you?
She laughs as she says this, and I'm caught up in her laugh again. It's so girlish, high and giggly, like, well, pardon the cliche, like a babbling brook. It bubbles out of her, starting in her belly and working its way up her throat. Can't help but laugh myself. It's infectious. Yeah, I guess I'm pretty unhappy with the salaryman idea. To be honest, I haven't given much thought to the future recently. I suppose that these days I've been more concerned with living one day at a time. Emmy considers this for a moment and grins.
That's a pretty good idea, Hisao. I just wrote down pirate.
I love you. I'm momentarily stunned, then I start laughing. I stop myself and manage to gasp out a question. You're not actually serious, are you? Emmy looks mock offended.
Well, I've got the legs for it already, so I just kind of figured.
Even Rin seems amused by this.
Just you wait, I'll be the terror of the high seas. I'll show you all. Have you even been working on my pirate voice?
She suddenly springs up and begins swaggering up and down the rooftop, shouting orders.
Yar, me hearties, give 'em a broadside with the long guns. We'll wear their guts for garters.
Do you even know what that means? Rin's unexpected interruption stops Emmy in her tracks.
Not really. That's all in the delivery.
The ringing of the bell prevents her from demonstrating her point further. Emmy dashes off immediately, leaving Rin and myself alone on the roof. Rin stares at me intently for a few moments. Is there something wrong? Rin considers the question closely for a moment. After a lengthy pause, she shakes her head. Nope. Oh. Why the staring then? Rin shakes her head again. No, I don't get it. Get what? Staring thing. You two seem to, but I don't. Great. She saw me staring. And she probably thinks I'm a pervert or something. Actually, probably not. This is Rin we're talking about after all. Still, I feel the need to defend myself. I wasn't staring, I was just tired. Rin actually snorts at this, but she doesn't say anything. No, really, I was just distracted is all. Eager to end this conversation, I head back down to class. I'm greeted by the twin specters of Shizune and Misha, looking like they mean business. Well, Shizune looks like she means business anyway. Misha just looks like she's about to start laughing at any minute.
Up on the roof again, Hee-chan. You know that's dangerous, don't you? That's right. The school cannot be held responsible for any injury that comes from being up there, you know. Furthermore, we can report you for breaking the rules.
Misha leans in and whispers conspiratorially.
But we won't, Hee-chan. You three are too cute together.
She straightens up again, laughing at my sudden blush.
You're too easy to tease, Hee-chan.
Hey, come on. I'm still new here, sort of. Doesn't mean to pick on the newcomer like this.
Nope. It's to help you get acclimated to your new surroundings.
Ah, I see. Well, do you have to be so overzealous about it?
Yep. Ah, that aside, Hee-chan, we were looking for you this morning, but you weren't in your room.
Of course I wasn't. I was out for my morning exercise, or here in class bright and early. Unlike you. Shizune looks peeved, and a beat later, so does Misha. Or she tries to, at any rate.
That was because of student council business. You should be grateful that we worked so hard for you.
Oh, I am. So what did you need me for? Not another attempt to rope me in to do their dirty work, I hope.
We had to give you something, but since you weren't around, we dropped it off in your room.
Something? Like what?
Oh, you'll find out when you get back, Hee-chan.
Muto entering the room ends our conversation. We all head to our seats. It's only after I've settled down at my desk and the teacher started talking about something or other that something odd strikes me. What did Rin mean, you two seem to? Was Emmy staring at something too? For a brief moment, I considered the possibility that Emmy was staring at me the way I was staring at her. Of course, that's ridiculous. Still, I can't deny that I wouldn't mind if it were true. But it's best not to think of that. No need to get my hopes up. Come to think of it, when did I start having hopes like that anyway? I shake my head in an attempt to clear it and focus on the lesson. After class, I make my way to my room. Muto really piled on the homework today. Before I can open my door, however, I am suddenly intercepted by Kenji, who has just exploded out of his room in a flurry of papers.
Hey, we need to talk. These rooftop shenanigans of yours, man. They've got to stop.
What?
You're running around on the rooftop with the limbless wonders. They're women, man. You'll get yourself killed running around like that.
I don't follow. Kenji sighs and adjusts his glasses before what could be understood as an attempt at explaining himself patiently.
Look, we're friends, so I'm telling you this for your own good. But if I were going to kill someone, I'd do it by throwing them off the roof and making it look like an accident.
It's actually funny because there's a bad ending. I don't know if there's multiple bad endings, but I know it's like a bad ending within the common route if you fail to lock in one of the romance options. One of the bad endings is you actually end up on the rooftop with Kenji, and he does accidentally push you off and kill you. That is a legitimate ending. I forget whose route I was trying to do when that happened. I don't. In fact, I think it might have been Emmy's route. The first time I did Emmy's route, because I mentioned before that one choice you make during like the first exercise session, during the first morning run you have with Emmy, where it's either push yourself or, don't go so hard. If you choose like, don't go so hard, don't push yourself, then you end up not going for any more morning runs. And at that point, I obviously hadn't made any choices towards any of the other girls at that point. So yeah, I think that it was actually my first attempt at Emmy's route way back when I got that ending, where I think Kenji sneaks like a bottle of alcohol up on the rooftop, and you're hanging out with him, and he eventually starts getting too close to you, and you like start to back away, end up pushed against the fence, and you fucking fall over and die. So I don't know if I connected this the first time I read it, but the fact that he says that, like, yeah, if I kill someone, yeah, I'd push him off the roof. When in reality, no, that's whether he intends to or not, that's exactly what he would do.
And if I've thought of it, you can be sure they've thought of it too. They're crafty. Almost as crafty as I am.
I see.
Good. I'm glad we had this chat. Loan me 500 yen.
I'm sorry?
I need to get a drink, man. Been inside all day and the tap water's been compromised, as I'm sure you know. So I need to stock up on something canned, got it? But to do that, I need 500 yen. And since I've just saved your life with my timely advice, you can at least spare me 500 yen.
If it'll make him go away, 500 yen is a bargain. Hand over the money to Kenji, who nods in thanks and dashes off down the hallway, but not before he locks his door. What an exhausting person. I'd better to go in case he changes his mind. As I close the door, my heel taps against something lying on the floor. It's a brightly colored rectangle of paper. This must be the something Misha mentioned before. Probably a student council leaflet she slid under the door. However, when I pick it up, I find that I couldn't have been more wrong. Someone actually wrote me an old-fashioned handwritten paper letter. Who bothers doing something like that in this day and age anyway? Yet, as unlikely as the prospect of receiving one sounds, this is definitely a letter I have in my hands. I was planning on finishing my homework, getting some dinner, and going to bed in order to be ready for tomorrow morning's run. However, the letter has naturally caught my interest. I sit at my desk to examine it properly. It's the first piece of mail I've received here at Yamaku, so it feels special even if it wasn't something as rare as a handwritten letter. What caused me even more trepidation is the name of the sender written neatly on the back of the envelope. Iwanako. I have no idea why she would write to me. I haven't been in contact with anyone from my old school since I transferred. Iwanako is the last person I'd expect to want to write me a letter. Last time I saw Iwanako was terribly awkward, embarrassingly so. She came to my hospital room, peeled me an apple out of courtesy, and then we practically sat in silence for half an hour. She said goodbye and didn't look me in the eye when she closed the door. It might have been natural to end the series of visits that were probably pretty painful for both of us. Every time she visited me in the hospital, I wanted to talk to her, but something stopped me every time. Every time that I didn't speak made the next time even harder. She looked so guilty that I didn't want to say anything that might upset her, and I never could figure out the right words to say. I think Iwanako blamed herself for my heart attack. That's ridiculous, of course, but knowing it and believing it are two very different things. I told her that it wasn't her fault. She nodded, and I really think she understood that if it hadn't been that, then sooner or later something else would have made my heart give out. Yet she looked so hopelessly sad every time she opened that door and entered my room. So I never managed to say the things I wanted to say. In the end, that might have hurt her even more. Carefully, I open the envelope and draw out the folded leather from within. Dear Hisao, how are you? I hope you are well and happy at your new school. Everyone here misses you. Almost all of our second year class got put together in class 3-1 for the final year, so we're pretty comfortable right from the beginning of the year. I'm sure you would have been assigned to this class as well. The mood among the third year seems to be very anxious about the final exams, even though they're so far away. The teachers are badgering us about it all the time. Even old Mr. Tachibana, who is, by the way, our homeroom teacher this year. Would you believe it? I was sure that he'd retire after our second year, but here he is, nagging everyone about studying for exams. I think things are like that are the main reason why the mood among the third years is so nervous. I must admit that I'm somehow losing confidence in myself as well, even though I've already fared reasonably well in exams. It's so weird to think we're already seniors, isn't it? Time has really flown past. I wonder where it went. The new first years seem so young and somehow really innocent. I keep wondering if I was like them in my first year. I've been feeling nostalgic like this for the whole first trimester. There are the things I want to say. I'm writing to you because I felt that there are things I should have said after the incident back in winter. I really regret that I wasn't able to say them in person, and I have no excuse for it. Yeah, I think I've had quite enough of this. I crumple up the sheet of paper and toss it across the room. My aim is off, so the letter rolls under my nightstand instead of going into my wastebasket. That was an apology for abandoning me, except I don't know that I really needed it anymore at this point. The hospital seems like a lifetime ago, and here, now, I've got other things on my mind. Emmy, for starters. It wasn't great to be abandoned during my stay, but it's not something I'm worried about anymore. In fact, I hadn't even thought about the hospital in what feels like forever until this letter came in. It's almost annoying to have received it. I've got exams to study for myself. I have no time for the past. Now about that homework. So what's the plan for today anyway? I'm waiting patiently in the hallway of the girls' dormitory just outside of Emmy and Rin's rooms. Emmy is apparently helping Rin with getting dressed. I suppose that makes perfect sense, as I have no idea how Rin would get dressed otherwise.
Picnic.
Picnic?
That's what I said.
Sounds pretty exciting.
I know, right?
Rin chooses this moment to make an observation. The sky seems threatening today. Actually, I noticed that too on my way over. Despite the sunshine of the early morning, the afternoon seems to have taken a turn for the gloomy. There's a heaviness to the air that usually heralds a rainstorm. I wonder if I should have brought my umbrella. She's got a point. Emmy, you sure that you still want to risk getting caught in the rain? I don't even know why I bothered asking. Emmy pops out of Rin's room into the hallway, looking shocked that I'd even suggest canceling our plans.
Of course. What, the threat of rain's supposed to stop me?
Can't help but grin at her belligerent response. It's almost like she's daring the rain to come. If Mother Nature were walking down the street, I think Emmy would probably start a fight with her. Or at least challenge her to a race. In fact, Emmy seems almost aggressively cheerful today. Rin wanders out into the hallway looking her usual self. Well then, are we all ready to go?
I'm ready.
Rin nods and says a single word. Basket. Beg pardon? The basket. In Emmy's room. You should carry it. Emmy claps a hand to her mouth, embarrassed.
Oh my gosh, I almost forgot all about it. Nice save, Rin.
Emmy darts into her room and emerges with what looks like a very well-stocked picnic basket. As she hands it over to me, I note that it feels heavy enough to be one too. Good lord, how much food did she pack? More to the point, where'd she get the money for all this? So are we set to head out?
Yep.
Rin gives another nod, and we head out of the dormitory. I can't help but frown when I notice how gray the sky's gotten in 10 minutes I was inside. Still, Emmy does not seem concerned by such petty concerns as the color of the sky. She's positively skipping as we walk. Which reminds me, where are we going? This brings Emmy up short and she shoots me an embarrassed look.
You know, I hadn't really thought of that. What do you think, Kisao?
Well, there's the spot where we ate during the festival, but it might be nice to leave the campus for a while. However, I'm not sure if there's any good places to do that in town. Just as I'm about to open my mouth, Rin unexpectedly interjects with a suggestion. There's a parking town near the art shop.
Great idea, Rin. I totally forgot all about that place.
Crisis averted. Do you know how to get there, Rin? Rin shrugs. It's pretty likely.
Good enough for me.
I prefer knowing for sure, but what the hell. Lead on, Rin. The three of us quickly make our way off campus and take the road down into town. This basket's a bit heavy. Hope the park is close by. We pass the art supply store, Rin slowing her pace slightly as we go by. Emmy notices Rin's change of pace and stops.
You want to go in, Rin?
Rin shrugs. Nothing I need.
Are you sure?
There's the slightest flutter of a smile on Rin's face, quickly replaced with her usual expression. Life's uncertain, but on this at least I am pretty sure. Nice of you to offer.
It's not like I'm the one carrying the basket. But I'll bet Hisa wouldn't have minded anyway, right?
Oh, of course not. This is hardly a heavy load. I flex for emphasis. Emmy stifles a snort of laughter by pointing to the park at which we've suddenly arrived.
Oh, I remember this place. I ran into you here that one time, didn't I, Rin?
Rin's eyebrow raises slightly. Maybe. I'm unwilling to say for certain one way or the other. Memory's a tricky thing, you know. I'll be. We made it in one piece after all. The sun's still nowhere to be seen, but neither Emmy nor Rin seems to mind. We find a spot to sit on the grass, and I set the basket down gratefully. There's a surprising amount of food prepared. We were supposed to be joined by some of Emmy's teammates or something.
I'm starving. Dig in.
She attacks the food as if she's had nothing to eat for years. I love that face. I'm just reaching for the food myself when I feel the first drop of rain land on the back of my hand. Uh-oh. Looks like the weather's not going to cooperate with us after all. Emmy glares at the sky as if that alone will hold back the rain. I very nearly believe she can do it. It's one heck of a glare.
And it better cooperate. You hear me, Sky? You stop that raining right this instant.
The sky doesn't seem inclined to listen to her, despite the commanding tone she's taken with it. Instead, the rain seems to increase. Rin wrinkles her nose in distaste at this turn of events. Regrettable.
What do you mean?
Rin shrugs. I could paint this if I weren't out here. Shame to miss it all. She doesn't seem angry or annoyed about it, just a little disappointed. Emmy laughs in response to Rin's comment.
Guess we should have stopped in the art supply store after all, huh?
The rain increases a little more, offended that we haven't flooded yet. Despite the warm temperatures we've been enjoying, the rain is rather cold. Wish I'd brought my umbrella. Hey, we should probably head inside to keep dry.
We're already pretty wet, Isao.
Yeah, but we can dry off this way and maybe wait out the storm. You don't want to catch a cold or anything, do you? Emmy considers this for a moment. You can tell that part of her wants to stay out in the rain just to spite the weather. Unfortunately for her, the weather hardly cares about what we do.
I suppose you're right. Where could we go?
I don't have an answer for her. The area is still pretty new to me. Though I guess I'm slowly getting used to the school itself, the surrounding town remains a mystery. All I know is at the art supply store, and that's only because we've just passed it. Fortunately, Emmy soon snaps her fingers in triumph.
That's it. There's a tea shop nearby. We could have some tea and dry out, no problem.
Doesn't sound like a bad idea. Great. You know where it is? Emmy nods, looking fairly confident.
Sure do. I think. But it'll be an adventure either way, right?
Adventure, huh? And I suppose we could use a little adventure. I think as long as we get out of the rain, I'll be happy. The picnic basket is a little lighter now, at least. Lead on. Rin and I follow Emmy as she weaves through the streets with something approaching confidence.
Now left here. There, the Shanghai.
Emmy beams triumphantly as she points at the tea shop. It seems fairly crowded inside, a symptom of the sudden rain, I'm sure.
Welcome. Can I...
I'm surprised to find out that our waitress, none other than Yuko. She sure looks the part in her uniform. It's hard to believe this is the same librarian from our school. Does she work 2 jobs? I guess that must be it.
Oh, it's you.
Yuko seems to know Emmy. Emmy grins brightly, pleased to be remembered.
Hey, Yuko.
Hi, Yuko. Didn't know you worked here too.
Do I know you? You seem awfully familiar, but I don't think I've ever seen you in here.
There, we met at your other job, at the Yamaka Library, remember? Her eyes widen in memory.
Yeah, that's it. Nice to see you again. Oh no, this is bad. I should have remembered a customer's face. I'm sorry. I am terribly sorry.
Yuko goes from realization to panic in a split second, performing a series of high-speed bows, and narrowly avoid getting headbutted in the process. Whoa, hey, calm down. Listen, I wasn't a customer when we first met. In fact, I'd never been to the Shanghai, so it's alright. Not the best display of logic, but it seems to relax her a little.
Do you really think so?
Yeah, I'm sure. Positive. Isn't that right, girls? Emmy has been watching this little drama unfold with considerable amusement.
Yep, it sure is. Well, okay. So, you go. Got room to seat us?
Yuko nods and leads us to a corner booth, providing us with some small towels before taking our order.
What will you have? Cake. And some tea too, I guess. What kind of cake? Surprise me.
Yuko looks uncomfortable at the thought of surprising anyone, but she gives a nod and turns to Rin.
And for you?
I'll take a straw. My feet are all wet.
Sorry?
The drinking kind of straw. One, please. Yuko is obviously uncertain of what to think about this. She fiddles with her pen and stationery for a moment, looking like she's about to cry before turning in my direction.
And you, sir?
Just tea, I think. Emmy would probably yell at me if I ordered cake.
Aw, come on, Hisao. Don't let me be the only one with food. I'll feel like a pig.
Just trying to eat healthy. Your orders, after all.
Well, today is your day off. You can be healthy tomorrow.
Well then, I suppose I will have some cake after all. Yuko seems slightly irritated that I'm changing my mind.
What kind?
I glance at Emmy and grin. Surprise me. Yuko sighs and nods.
Very well. Your order will be out soon.
Despite the crowd, our order does indeed arrive quickly.
Thanks, Iko.
Yuko nods in appreciation.
This is a different guy than usual, isn't it?
What? Different guy. Emmy must notice my confusion because she seems a little embarrassed.
What? Oh, yeah, I guess he is. This is my friend Hisao.
We've met.
Huh, small world. Well, let me know if you need anything.
With that, Yuko takes off like a shot to wait on some other tables, leaving me to ponder her comment. Different guy, huh? I guess it makes sense, right? Emmy's pretty popular, or so I've been told. It's probably that kid from the track team. This is stupid. I can just ask Emmy. So who's this other guy, huh? You got a secret lover or something? Emmy laughs again. Well, I get the feeling it's from nervousness as much as anything else.
It's just the track team captain. He likes coming down here after practice sometimes. So if we have anything to discuss, I tag along.
Sounds mighty suspicious to me. Oh, I see. I could let the matter drop, but I can't resist at least getting another dig in. So it is a secret lover. I knew it. Rin watches our play, seemingly mildly amused before muttering something that I don't quite catch. Anyway. What? Rin jerks back from wherever her mind wandered off to. Huh? What did you just say? Huh. No, before that. No idea. Oh. Well. Okay. Good talk. Fuck. I'll let the matter drop, but I can't help notice that Emmy seems relieved that Rin interrupted the conversation. Maybe I went a little too far. Conversation dies down for a moment as Emmy and I busy ourselves with cake. Mine is strawberry and surprisingly good. Emmy seems to think so too as she suddenly reaches over with her fork and steals a bit. Thief!
Pirate. There's a difference.
We're not on water.
Well, no. There's a lot of water outside, so it still works, right? Besides, you can have some of mine. I think it's cranberry or something. I should have asked for the strawberry. I like strawberries.
Feel free to help yourself to mine if you really must. For some reason I feel compelled to add, seeing as how you've already done it once and all. Emmy sticks her tongue out at me, but that doesn't stop her from appropriating my cake. Try some of hers as well. It's raspberry, and pretty good. The rain's let up. It appeared that Rin is correct. Good timing, too. I finished my food, and it looks like Emmy has as well. Well, we better pay and get a move on before it starts raining again. Takes a few minutes to get Yuko's attention, but we pay and get out pretty quickly.
So do you want to return to the park?
My jaw nearly drops. Are you kidding? It's probably going to rain again. In fact, I think I just felt some raindrops.
You may be right. Okay, I'll let you off the hook this time. But you owe me a picnic now, got it?
I don't know if she's addressing me, Rin, or the both of us. Fine, fine.
Now hurry up. I want to get some laps in at the track, and it'd be nice to do it without the rain.
I thought this was your day off.
Well,
Emmy suddenly seems reluctant to explain herself.
I need the practice. And I need to burn off that cake anyway.
Why do I get the feeling that she's leaving something out? Are you sure? It wasn't that much cake.
No, it wasn't that much cake for you. I ate most of it.
She's got a point there. Still, I feel like I should at least offer to run with her. Hmm. That's the thing. As much as I fucking love this game, I do not remember any of what the proper choices are. We'll go ahead and leave ourselves a nice little save here. I would like to continue running with Emmy. I know, but part of me knows she kind of wants to be left alone. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to use my insider knowledge about this story to, because I know part of it's like she pushes herself too hard and she does like damage to her legs and whatnot. So I can't remember if, do we just say, oh, okay, and leave it be? Or do we say, hey, I could run with you? Uh, you know what? We'll offer to run. I saved. We'll offer to run. Hey, I'll run with you. I might as well, right? Amy shakes her head empathetically.
No, you won't, Isao. Rest is critical for you, remember? I won't allow you to push yourself too hard.
I guess she's better at giving advice than taking it. Whatever you say, Amy. I think it's probably best not to press the issue. I think it's good to extend the offer. I'm trying to remember. Trying to remember exactly how the story goes. I do think because of this rain, she starts pushing herself while she's running in the rain, and she does catch a cold over it, and the nurse gets pissed at her. But also I know there's some point where she pushes herself so hard that it ends up causing issues with her legs and her prosthetics and whatnot. I can't remember if that's the same incident or if they're two separate incidents. As we approach the girls' dormitory, it starts to rain again. Amy's expression sours slightly.
Ah, man. Stupid rain.
Hey, it'll let up soon enough. You can go running then, right? Amy snorts, seemingly amused.
Like I'm not going to run in the rain.
Well, you shouldn't. You could catch a cold. Amy waves her hand airily.
Ridiculous. I don't get colds. My immune system is far too strong for something like that.
I can't help but laugh. Well, I'll see you tomorrow then, okay?
Yeah. Thanks for coming. Oh, and for carrying the basket. I'll bring it for lunch tomorrow. We can have our picnic on the roof.
Sounds good to me. See you then. Emmy grabs the basket from me and shoots through the door. Rin gives me a sort of half nod and ambles inside as well. Damn, it's wet out here. Need to get back to my room and into some dry clothes. I'm soon in front of my door, but I am intercepted by the sudden appearance of Kenji, who appears to be carrying a stack of books.
Hey, man. Give me a hand, would you?
Huh? The books are unceremoniously dumped in my arms as Kenji fumbles with his room key.
Thanks. You're a lifesaver. If you weren't around, I'd have to keep the door unlocked. That's just begging for trouble. Perfect opportunity to set up an ambush, or maybe just plant a bomb if they don't want to get their hands too dirty. Probably don't. Afraid they'll break a nail or something if they have to stab me. Women. My mind thinks about digesting the verbal torrent that's just been unleashed, but elects to remain comfortably in the dark. Anyway, where have you been, man? I could have used some help carrying these back from the library. I knocked on your door, but you weren't there.
Oh, sorry. Not really. You appear to think I'm some kind of pack mule. I was out with Emmy and Rin. Kenji staggers back in shock. Looks like I just shot his dog, if he had a dog.
The limbless ladies again? What'd you do this time?
Well, we wound up at the Shanghai. I'm prevented from continuing by a sudden exclamation of despair.
The Shanghai? Why the Shanghai? No, man. You can't just go to the damn Shanghai. It's the most dangerous place in the city. A veritable stronghold of their best agents. I know. I've met them. They'll stop at nothing to lure you into a false sense of security and then BAM!
He hits the door for emphasis.
Wallet's gone. Bus pass gone. Identity fucking gone, man. Promise me you won't go there again.
He seems so vehemently opposed to the idea of the Shanghai that I'm willing to lie a little in order to get to my room. Sure, I won't go there again. Or at least I won't ever tell you I've gone there again. Seems to mollify my bespectacled companion.
Good. Sorry to come on so strong, but I know the dangers there too well to let you just wander into the lion's den again. You got out of there alive once, but twice is pushing it.
Yeah, well, I need to get changed and do homework, so I'll see you later.
Huh? Oh, sure, whenever.
I suddenly remember that I'm still holding his books. You'd better take these. Catch a glimpse of one of the titles, something about cryptography. What a weirdo. Genji grabs his precious cargo from me and disappears through his doorway. I open my own door and walk in, grateful to get out of my soaking wet clothes. The rain outside picks up, and I find myself hoping that Emmy's not out running in this weather. She seems so adamant about doing the run alone, I can't help but wonder if her leg's still bothering her. Yeah. I try to remember whether or not I've seen her limping at all today, but I can't. Guess I was too caught up in enjoying the day, even if it did rain on us. As I think back over the events of today, I keep finding myself focusing on my running partner. Her complete refusal to allow the rain to spoil our plans was incredibly cute. There was something else there, too. Sort of an unflappable attitude when it comes to enjoying the day as it comes. I really like that quality. Maybe I need to do a little of that myself. The sound of my alarm brings me out of a daydream involving pirates and some other stuff I can't really remember. I'm a little bleary-eyed, and it feels like it takes me longer than usual to get dressed and down to the track. Glance at my watch reveals that I was right, and I am in fact running a little late. The thing is, there's no Emmy. That's odd. She should be here. She definitely should be here. I mean, I was late. Guess I wasn't the only one who had trouble getting up this morning. The thought crossed my mind that it never quite stopped raining yesterday. Did she go running anyway? Seems likely. Amy's a lot of things, but cautious isn't one of them. She probably figured the rain wouldn't stop, and that's why she was so adamant about running alone. Still, I would have gladly run with her, even if it was in the rain. Heck, if anything, I would have been able to convince her to come in once it got really bad. That would be why she didn't want me along, of course. Even so, I can't help wanting to know where she is. Well, nothing for it. I better stretch and run and hope that Emmy shows up with a grin and an excuse. On my cooldown lap, I'm forced to admit that Emmy isn't showing up. Furthermore, I have no idea where she is. Anxiety gnaws at me while at the same time I wonder just why I'm so worried over her. The run helped to take my mind off of it for a little while, but now that I'm finished, I'm back to worrying. It was weird not having her here. Downright unnerving. It suddenly dawns on me that I've been running to hang out with Emmy as much as I've been running to stay healthy. Probably more to be with Emmy now that I think of it. It's one of those things that are completely obvious, yet somehow I never realized it. She really is someone I enjoy being with. As revelations go, it's hardly world-shaking. All the same, I find myself feeling slightly shocked. When did this happen? Well, no time to think about this. Though I want to ponder this new development, I have a greater desire to find out what's happened to Emmy. I'll ask the nurse when I stop in to see him. Well, you seem to be in good shape, Izao. That's good to hear. I replace my shirt and stand to leave as usual. Except instead of leaving, I ask a question. Hey, where's Emmy? She didn't show up this morning. Is she okay? While I try valiantly to conceal the anxiety in my voice, the nurse's expression suggests that I've failed miserably. You mean she didn't tell you? She's sick in bed. What? Sick? The nurse shrugs. Yeah, she came to my office early this morning with a fever. To be honest, I'm surprised she made it here. She was burning up when she arrived. I believe she'd planned to let you know, but she asked me to tell you. Oh, shoot. The nurse gives me a sheepish smile that seems a little partially sincere. I told her I'd stop by the track to let you know in case she forgot to. Sorry about that. But we don't need to tell Emmy I forgot, right? I return the nurse's smile with a devious one of my own. Oh, of course not. This is fine blackmail material. I'll save it for whenever I need a favor from you. The nurse laughs. Well, I guess I deserve that. But you know, I've got tons of blackmail on you that you're not even aware of. so don't put your luck, okay? My expression earns another laugh from the nurse. I'm just kidding, Isao. But seriously, don't tell Emmy I forgot, okay? Your secret is safe with me. Oh, good. Go on, get out of here. Wait, I've got one more question. Shoot. Is she going to be okay? Oh, yeah, definitely. Her fever was high, but was already starting to go down by the time she came by my office. I'll probably check up on her again at lunch to be sure, but I expect she'll be up and about by the evening no matter what I tell her. Maybe I should visit her after class. It takes me a second to realize I've spoken aloud. The nurse raises an eyebrow and gives me a searching glance for a moment. Well, might not be a bad idea. You could let me know if she's taking a turn for the worse, I guess. But no fuzz, any business, you got it. I know what meds you're on after all. I think that's a threat against my life, but I'm not sure. Either way, I assure the nurse that my intentions are chaste and exit the office. Interesting that the nurse sees me as some sort of potential suitor to Emmy. Even more interesting is how pleased that makes me feel. I need a shower. The lunch bell rings and I find myself disinclined to make my way up to the roof. After all, I'm betting Rin knows where Emmy is, and if that's the case, then I doubt she'd bother going up there. More to the point, I doubt we'd have any sort of scintillating conversation if she did. Chances are she'd prefer to be alone up there anyway, so don't accidentally ruin her train of thought or something. Unfortunately, I don't really feel like heading to the cafeteria either. Guess I'll go to the library instead. Need a new book to read anyway, having finished my other one yesterday before bed. Maybe I can find more by the same author. I love libraries. They smell like dust and paper and ink. All these stories and facts and opinions crowded together in one place makes the air come alive with potential. Not sure how to navigate Yamaka's library yet, having mostly stuck to books I brought with me, so I searched for the librarian to ask for help. I suppose she's not a Can't believe it. Yuko, looking rather distracted, suddenly emerges from one of the aisles. Excuse me. Oh, can I help you? Actually, I was looking for a book. So am I. Advanced cryptography. We just got it in and now it's gone missing. I really, really wanted to read that one. Cryptography? Yeah, that is, this guy I knew. No, not sure how to describe it. Skip to the end. He got me interested in cryptography, only now the book's gone and I think it's been stolen. Sounds pretty terrible. Yeah, especially because now I have to search the whole library for it. Even though it's probably not even here. You seem busy. A little. She dashes off down another aisle, and I resign myself to finding my own damn book. Plenty of choices. Oh, come on. How did I get lost? These aren't even printed books. They're all in Braille. Guess that makes sense in a school like this, but honestly, it's a little annoying. I'm sorry, is someone there? A lilting voice drifts out from behind one of the cubicles set up for research. As I approach, I see that Lily's been reading a book while I've been stomping about the aisles. Oh, no, I should be apologizing. I didn't mean to make so much noise. My, is that you, Isao? I've not heard from you in quite some time. I was beginning to think you'd forgotten all about me. Sorry. Lily laughs in that refined manner of hers and shakes her head. I'm only teasing you, Isao. From what I hear, you've been busy. Morning runs with Emi Abarazaki and lunch on the rooftop, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Guess word gets around pretty quickly. That, and I can't coax poor Hanako on the roof anymore. You three always up there, claiming the spot for yourselves. She chides me gently, though it's pretty clear she's just teasing me again. Still, I feel an odd need to apologize. Sorry, we could eat lunch somewhere else if that's a real problem. Oh no, I wouldn't worry about it. Hanako and I have other things to do at lunch too, such as read in the library, as you can see. Oh, Hanako's here too? I didn't see her. Lily smiles a bit enigmatically. Oh, she's around somewhere. But I'm surprised, Hisao. You're in here instead of up there. What brings you to the library? Well, Emmy's ill, so there's no lunch on the rooftop to keep me occupied. Lily raises an eyebrow at my statement before giving another chuckle. My, poor Rin must feel left out. It's not like that. But I'm sure it isn't. Emmy tends to be the life of whatever group she's in. It's a shame to hear that she's fallen ill. Will she be okay? Somehow I get the feeling that Lily's just inquiring out of politeness, but I respond anyway. The nurse thinks so. I'm gonna swing by and see how she's doing after school myself. Another raised eyebrow. My, what a noble gentleman you are, Hisao. It's nothing, really. Just checking up on my friend, after all. Ah, so it's just friends, is it? How disappointing. I blush, glad that Lily can't see it. But somehow she knows that I've been flustered by her comment anyway and laughs. I'm sorry, Hisao. I'm teasing you again. Please do tell Emmy that I hope she feels better, won't you? A glance at my watch reveals that I'm very nearly out of time to find my book. Of course. I've got to find a book before lunch is over, so I'd better get moving. See you later. That's probably not the best phrase to use. Lily, however, takes my gaffe in stride. Until we meet again, Hisao. I never do find the book I was looking for, but I walk out with something else instead. My stomach growls slightly, letting me know that I should have had something for lunch. Oh well. I'll grab something before I visit Emmy later. Seems as if time has decided to slow down for the express purpose of annoying the hell out of me. Class feels like it drags on for ages. I suspect that my being consumed with worry probably has something to do with it. Blessedly, the bell rings and I dash out of class, drawing a few raised eyebrows, I'm sure. I've spent the majority of the day fretting as unobtrusively as I could. Even though the nurse thinks that Emmy is perfectly okay, I want to see for myself. It doesn't take me long to get to the girls' dormitory and make my way to Emmy's room. Standing outside her door, I suddenly pause. What if she's resting? I'd hate to wake her up, especially if she's still feeling ill. Then again, if she sleeps all day, it could throw off her sleeping schedule. But rest is important if you're ill, isn't it? Can't decide what to do, so I settle for standing outside the door looking like an idiot. Then I hear Emmy's voice from behind the door.
Thanks for your concern, but I really am okay.
She's talking to me?
I'll see you at practice tomorrow.
Guess not. Still, clearly she's not asleep, so I can knock without worry. So why this clenched feeling in my gut? I wasn't nervous about dropping by the other day, so why today? Granted, I still haven't really had time to figure out this newfound interest in Emmy's well-being. I have a lot of experience in the matter, of course, but certainly this seems to go beyond feelings of mere friendship. But could I take that step? Could I even bring myself to risk what I have right now? I mean, it's enough to be friends with her, isn't it? Either way, I should just open the door and see how she's doing. That's why I came here. Right? What if she's not dressed yet? The image that flashes through my mind causes my heart to skip a beat, literally. I should probably not ever think those thoughts again. Not if I want to avoid a heart attack. Suddenly realize I'm still standing in the hallway looking like an idiot. Emmy still seems to be in the middle of a conversation, but I knock anyway. Hopefully she won't mind the interruption.
You worry too much. Come in, the door's unlocked.
So it is. I open the door and step in, which is about where my thought process comes to a grinding halt. Emmy's sitting up in bed, her hair tousled from a day spent asleep. I think it's the first time I've seen her without those familiar beads in her hair. Her gym shirt and bloomers, obviously hastily pulled on before I came in, are creased and folded from less than proper storage. Her legs lay bare on the sheets. I've never seen Emmy without her prosthetics before, yet here she is, slender legs terminating in stumps below her knees. But as odd as the sight is, I find myself more captivated by everything north of the waist. Seems that Emmy had finished her conversation with whoever was on the phone with her, and is now watching my reaction closely out of her one open eye as she wipes sleep from the other. Her expression, far from being embarrassed, is rather one of surprisingly wide yawn, one perhaps appropriate from such a small mouth. A grin that for a brief moment seems almost flirtatious tugs at the corner of her mouth as she takes the sight of me in. I can do nothing but remain in a state of fluctuating between fear, confusion, and not a little bit of lust. Emmy hastily sweeps her hair out of her eyes, fixing it back into place before addressing me.
You seem caught a bit off guard, Hisao.
A wave of laughter erupts from her, and I find myself grinning and rubbing the back of my head ruefully. Sorry, I've just, never seen someone so disheveled look so attractive. Never seen you without your legs on. Never seen you look so... sorry. Emmy giggles again and moves to sit up a little straighter. Caught up in the movements of her shirt, very nearly losing myself.
I was wondering what your reaction would be. The nurse called and told me you were going to drop by, you see. And I know you haven't seen me, well, you know, without legs.
I respond in a tone of casual surprise. Oh, you don't have them on? I didn't notice. This is almost the truth. I very nearly didn't. I'm not trying to be suave or anything, mind you. Somehow I think Emmy would get offended by that. Instead, she sticks her tongue out at me and chucks the pill at my head.
Ass.
I definitely catch the pill and take a careful aim before throwing. Amy laughs and rolls to one side, dodging my shot. The shifting of her shirt distracting me enough so that the next bill thrown hits me right between the eyes. I retaliate, of course. Once I've retaliated twice, well, a war was bound to break out sooner or later. And really, when Emmy appears to have far better aim than me, well, it's just a matter of time before I'd have to resort to suicidal charge. Gotcha.
Eh.
And once the charge was accomplished, well, of course, I'd have to wrestle the pillows away from her. And with that kind of struggle, of course, we wind up in this sort of position. And so I find myself staring down at her from my position atop her. She's grinning, eyes sparkling with amusement, maybe a little sweaty now from our tussle. Her chest is heaving up and down, sucking in air. A small bit of my brain that is not currently enraptured by the sight and the smell of her observes that she must still be ill, because her stamina is not what it should be. We stay that way for a while. I'm not sure how long because everything seems to go fuzzy. Everything that isn't her, anyway. Her eyes meet mine, and deep inside them, I almost catch a glimpse of... what? Fear? Longing? Hope? Emmy? A cough suddenly convulses her, and I'm almost stumbling in my haste to get off to apologize for everything. Sorry, I shouldn't have...
It's fine. It's fine.
She gives me a reassuring pat on the shoulder.
So, what brings you here?
She's still breathing hard, and that causes her voice to shake slightly. Well, before I was so rudely assaulted by pillows, I came to see how you were doing. This earns me another shove, and I very nearly fall off her bed. Emmy's eyes sparkle again, and I wonder how I never noticed how attractive they are before.
Consumed with worry, were you?
Her tone is mocking, haughty, teasing. She throws her arm across her forehead dramatically, grin still apparent from underneath.
Couldn't bear the thought of me laying deathly ill.
As we both recover from our brief wrestling match, Emmy appears to fall back on teasing me. Well, I wouldn't say consumed with worry, but after you didn't show up this morning like a total wuss. Emmy pouts, crossing her arms petulantly and sticking her lower lip out.
It's not my fault. Nurse wouldn't allow it.
Sure he wouldn't. I completely believe you. Emmy sticks her tongue out again.
You're such a jerk, Hisao.
So how was your day then? Did you enjoy slacking off?
Not really. The phone woke me up pretty early on.
The phone?
Yeah, the captain of the team called to make sure I was doing okay. Also let me know it was okay to skip practice.
Good. At least she wasn't alone all day. Someone checked up on her. Though I can't help but think that it should have been me. Oh, that's good. He really keeps an eye on you, huh? Emmy shrugs.
It's his job. Our being the captain means you know where your team members are when they're not in school. Still, I guess it was nice of him to call, huh?
Yep, sure was. Emmy yawns and shimmies down to a more comfortable position.
So how was your day?
Kind of uneventful, you know? I went ahead and ran by myself and talked with the nurse about how you were doing. I meandered through the day's events, none of which were particularly engrossing. That's why I'm distracted by an arm finding its way across my waist. Seems that Emmy fell asleep while I was talking, so I draw a blanket to cover us. She's rolled over onto her side, and now one leg is thrown over my legs, effectively trapping me. Hey? Seems ashamed to wake her, but I have things to do. I gently shake her, but in response she only tightens her arm's grip on me and sighs a little. My resistance to this position crumbles rather quickly. The feeling of her body breathing steadily is both calming and incredibly stimulating at the same time. My breathing cannot decide if it wants to relax or speed up. Relaxation wins, and I find myself putting an arm around Emmy. I think I'm in love. Words slip out and hang in the air unnoticed. At least I hope they've gone unnoticed. Emmy whimpers weakly through her dream, and her grip suddenly tightens again. For the first time since I've known her, I see her tears running down Emmy's face. It feels like my heart is about to break. I instinctively tighten my own grip and stroke her hair in what I hope is a soothing manner. Words of comfort, meaningless in this situation, spring to mind. Maybe I should wake her. Are you supposed to wake people having nightmares? Can't for the life of me remember. The decision is taken from me as Emmy suddenly jerks awake with a cry.
Dad!
This is more than I think I want to hear without her knowing. I quickly sit upright and gently shake her shoulder to stir her. Hey, you okay? What a silly question.
Huh? What? Hisao?
She shakes her head as if to clear it and quickly wipes her eyes. You had a nightmare, I think. Emmy shudders again and glances up at me, a little cautiously, as if unsure or not whether she's actually up.
Yeah, I guess so.
You want to talk about it?
Huh?
Speedy internal debate seems to be going on in her head, which resolves itself with a shrug.
Nah, I don't really remember much of it.
I'm pretty sure she's lying to me, but somehow I don't think I should press the issue. Emmy shudders again, turns toward me, looking a little sheepish.
Sorry for falling asleep on you like that.
I keep my voice as soothing as I can. Hey, don't worry about it. You've been ill.
Yeah, I guess that cold medicine just made me a little drowsy.
Yeah, I guess so. Emmy does not strike me as the sort of person who'd fall asleep at the drop of a hat. Rin, maybe, but Emmy's far too energetic. Emmy gives a half smile at my response, and then just like that, she's back to her old self.
Well, prepare yourself for tomorrow morning, Hisao. We'll have to go twice as hard to make up for today.
But I went running this morning.
No excuse.
Oh, fine. I'll be ready for you. Emmy nods, satisfied.
Good.
I take this as my cue to exit. Well, I'd better get going, especially if I want to get enough sleep for tomorrow. I hop off the bed and head for the door.
Hey, Hisao?
Pivot neatly on my heel and face Emmy. She opens her mouth to say something, and then, in another first, I see her falter slightly. She closes her mouth and opens it again.
Thanks for dropping by. I mean, you're kind of the first visitor I've had who wasn't Rin.
Now, that's surprising. I'd figured that Emmy'd have people dropping by all the time. She's certainly popular enough, or so I thought. Always talking to people in the hallways. Emmy hesitates again.
And thanks for staying around after well...
A look of pain flits across her face. Oh, sweetheart.
You know. It helped.
She brightens back up and waves cheerily at me.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah. See you later. Just about to exit the door when something makes me turn around again. Hey, Emmy? Anytime you need to talk, let me know, okay? Emmy seems taken aback by this offer. Her grin gets even wider.
Sure thing, Hisao. See you in the morning.
I exit Emmy's room with my head in a whirl. Should I have even left? Was she really okay? I want to turn around and march back down the hallway, open the door, and tell her. Tell her I love her. Tell her I think she's beautiful. Tell her that I'll be there when she needs me. I want to stay with her, to hold her close as she falls back asleep. How many nights has she woken up like that, only to find that nobody's there? I want to be that person she can be with when that happens. It's a silly thought, I know. We don't know each other that well, do we? The whole idea, while exhilarating, also makes me feel worry. Worry, perhaps, that I'd overstep my bounds. And now to add to my troubles, it seems as if Emmy herself already has an interest in someone else. This track captain of hers who seems so interested in her well-being. True, I've only seen the two of them together a few times. That doesn't change the fact that they seem better suited to one another. There's really nothing to be done about that. I just remembered, I'm not going to spoil it, but I think I remember the reason why it is that the track captain isn't actually interested in Emmy. Which leads to another scene that makes me fucking giggle like a bitch. Anyway, I need to take my mind off this whole situation. Because, like, I know there's some point, obviously, where it's revealed, like, oh yeah, the track captain doesn't have any interest in Emmy, and nor Emmy in the captain. And then there's like, yeah, well, see, the reason for it is this. And then once you learn about that, then it leads to other things, and it's, ugh. I love this story, man. Anyway, got homework to do. Maybe that'll distract me. A night of restlessness has left me feeling fairly groggy in the morning. The events of the previous day keep intruding upon my mind. The memory of how Emmy felt against me, the memory of our wrestling match, most bothersome, the memory of her nightmare. She was in so much pain. Can't stop wondering what it must be like for her to wake up with nobody there. The shower shocks me awake with hot water. Awake, still worried. What will happen today? Will things just go back to normal? End of the episode, back to the status quo. There was a connection yesterday, something that nearly pushed us past the boundaries of normal friendship. Would that have been so bad? My mind goes back to looking at Emmy's eyes after our pillow fight. Almost seemed like she was daring me to go on. Almost. But I can't know for sure. Anyway, the track captain's probably first in her affections. But even as I say that, my mind is already snorting derisively. I'm just looking for an excuse. A reason for everything to go wrong. A reason not to try. It's not as if I've seen the two of them together outside of track practice. And clearly he's never visited. Emmy said as much herself. If they were close, surely he'd visit. I'm such a wuss. I'd just go for it anyway. Damn the consequences. Hell yeah. That's what Emmy would do, I think. Hell, I know that's what she would do. For just partially, I'm convinced there's no interest on her end. She hasn't acted either. Maybe because of this track captain. It's possible she's got a bit of an unrequited crush thing going on. But who would be able to clarify the relationship? Sure as hell can't be Emmy. She'd probably just laugh and ask why I wanted to know. I'm not ready to answer that yet. Rin would probably just give me some cryptic answer or something. And then with my luck, she just asked Emmy, who would ask why I wanted to know, and I've already covered that problem. I wonder, could I get away with asking the nurse? Seems pretty protective of Emmy. I'm sure he'd know if something was up. And he owes me for not letting Emmy know he forgot to tell me about her being ill, so he'll keep quiet. What if he asks me why I want to know, though? I can shake him off, just say I'm curious as a friend. He'll buy that, won't he? Of course. That's settled then. After the run, I'll talk to him while Emmy's waiting outside the office. There's no sign of Emmy when I arrive at the track. Is she still too ill? I decided to give her 10 minutes. I'm a little early, and she was ill yesterday, so if it takes a while to show up, it shouldn't be surprising. Still, I'd hate to just waste my time, so I occupy myself by stretching and pacing back and forth anxiously. What if I went too far yesterday? What if she doesn't come because she's embarrassed? What if...
You're early again, Hisao. I'm impressed.
Just like that, I feel some of the tension leaving my body. Amy seems to be bright and cheerful as usual, with no sign that she was even ill the other day, much less had a less than restful sleep. Still, I have to ask. Sleep well last night? It's just a throwaway question. Small talk. Sort of thing people ask someone they bump into in the cafe while getting their morning coffee. But not for us. At least, not for me. I don't know if Emmy realizes that I'm actually concerned about how well she slept last night, but the question does give her pause. After a short moment of what seems like her genuinely pondering this, she nods.
Yep, sure did.
Was it because of me? Did I actually help? Or are you just saying that to get me to stop asking questions? Good to hear. Emmy grins and begins warming up.
So, ready to begin?
Am I ready? Of course I'm ready. Was born ready. Emmy laughs at my bravado and we take off running. I keep a steady pace the whole time, breathing steadily. I still feel dead at the end, but at least I don't gasp like a fish out of water now. Emmy is positively beaming after the run today.
Nice job, Hisao. You're improving. You'll be half as fast as me in no time.
This last line is delivered with a teasing grin that I've grown all too used to. Oh, how exciting. Emmy begins to run her sprints while I take a cool-down lap. She's really pushing herself today. By the time I'm done with my lap, she's laying across one of the bleachers looking exhausted. Goodness, not pushing it a little too much today, are you? You did just have a cold, you'll recall. Emmy gives an annoyed snort and sits up.
I'm just trying to make up for lost time, that's all. I went twice as hard today, you know. A good run always gets the kinks out, you know? Clears the mind, too.
Oh? Emmy nods vigorously.
Yep, it's a great outlet for that sort of thing.
She does not explain further, and I don't ask. I suspect I know the real reason she went so hard today. Being sick had nothing to do with it. Something's bothering her. Maybe the nightmare. Maybe something else. But it's not my place to pry. She'd tell me if she wanted me to know. I'm sure that comes in handy.
You have no idea.
The sincerity in her voice confirms my suspicion. The only problem is, even though I know she'd tell me if she wanted me to know, I still want to know. Something on your mind, then? Emmy doesn't seem surprised by my question. Instead, she shrugs.
Nah, it's nothing worth getting worried about.
She seems as if she's trying to convince herself as much as she's convincing me. I open my mouth to ask if yesterday is responsible for her current state of mind, but think better of it. Too much risk of her taking the question the wrong way. Besides, I'm not even sure myself what to think about yesterday. Really, I can only get about as far as how it felt to have Emmy sleeping next to me before my brain shuts down. Having her before me now, covered in sweat and looking wryly at me, She's making it difficult to think. Yeah, I hear you.
We'd better hurry to see the nurse. We're running short on time.
Aren't we always? Emmy laughs at this, a dry chuckle that seems most un-Emmy-like.
Too true.
For a brief moment, she looks old, worn down by some old hurt. But just like yesterday, I can almost see her shouldering the burden and straightening up slightly. Then she's back to being Emmy again.
Come on then, Hisao. Race ya.
With a sudden smile, she darts off. Hey, no fair. Take off after her, knowing I won't catch her, but not caring. Even if there's no chance of catching her, I'll still run after her. Emmy's waiting for me at the door as I arrive.
Well, well, look who's finally shown up.
Yeah. Enjoy your victory while you can. Emmy grins as the nurse pokes his head out of the door. Well, there you are. Come on in, Isao. In what has become a familiar routine by now, he checks my blood pressure and my heart rate. A bit fast today, isn't it? Yeah, I kind of raced Emmy here. Nurse laughs. That's never a good idea. He leans in to whisper to me in a conspiratory manner. I don't know if you've heard, but Emmy's a bit of a track star. I reel back in mock surprise. Really? She never mentioned it before. The two of us share a laugh. Did she do okay today? Cold seemed to bother her? Why don't you ask her? He rolls his eyes in exasperation. Of course I'm going to ask her too, but she'll tell me that she didn't have any problems regardless of whether or not she did. So I'm asking you because you're a friend and would probably tell me if she had trouble today. When he puts it that way, it makes a lot more sense. She seemed pretty good today, if a little more tired than usual. She was already feeling better when I dropped by yesterday, so I'm not that surprised. The nurse nods, though I notice he tenses slightly when I mention yesterday's visit. Well, that's good to hear. I figured it was just a 24-hour thing. Emmy tends to recover quickly from colds and the like. Hey, speaking of Emmy, are she and the track captain? Well, you know. A look of suspicion crosses his face. Why do you ask? Well, it's just that they seem kind of close and I was just curious, you know? And I'd never ask her because that can't be kind of embarrassing. So far so good, now to really sell it. So far so good, like hell. Besides, I think they'd make a cute couple. Nurse laughs. Well, I don't suppose you're the first to think that. But I think I can say with some certainty that the two of them will never do anything like that, yeah? Certainty? Yep. Not that I can tell you, of course. Confidentiality and all that. Yeah, right. You're just like holding a secret over my head. That too. Alright, get out of here. I'm a busy man, you know. I roll my eyes at his last statement and head out the door, motioning to Emily to go in. The whole time I'm trying to keep from doing a celebratory dance. The two of them will never do anything like that. That's precisely the sort of thing I wanted to hear. I'm half tempted to make some sort of move on Emmy right now, but I think the nurse will probably disapprove. Besides, I still don't know exactly how Emmy feels about me. I mean, it's obvious that she cares about me as a friend, but something more than that? I can't be certain. Even so, I can't help but feel hopeful. Just need to figure out a good time to tell Emmy exactly how I feel. That puzzle should keep me occupied for the rest of the day, at least. The rooftop is completely deserted. Normally I could count on Rin to be up here before me, but she's strangely absent. I wonder if she decided to accompany Emmy to the cafeteria for once. It seems... shit. It seems pretty unlikely, but it's all I can think of right now. Part of me wants to go look for Rin, but a far larger part of me is too pleased with the way the sun feels on my skin to care. I pick idly at my lunch while I wait for Emmy and Rin to show up. It does not take long for me to hear the sounds of someone coming up the stairs. I wait until the door begins to open before talking. Took you long enough. Keep me waiting for you, honestly. Two of you are... Huh? Well, that's odd. The only person standing in the doorway is Emmy, who looks mildly confused.
What do you mean, huh? It's me, you know, Emmy, who run in the mornings.
She grins and I feel my heart jump slightly in my chest at the sight. Yes, I knew that. I'm just confused. Where's Rin? Emmy's grin is replaced by a rather guilty-looking expression.
Yeah, about that. I kind of, sort of, give her my cold.
Oh dear. Am I at risk too? It makes sense after all. I mean, I were in close contact the other day. What did she and Rin do that got her ill? Steady on, old lad. Don't go down that road. Rin's just probably got a worse immune system than me. Emmy seems shocked by my comment, like she hadn't considered that before.
I hope not. I'll feel terrible if you get ill because of me, Hisao.
Oh man, I think I feel a fever coming on. Amy looks horrified and then quickly shifts into a more angry expression.
Hisao, you stop getting sick this instant. I won't have it.
Impulsively, she seizes me by the collar.
Are you listening to me, to Hisao's immune system? Get your ass in gear.
I give a smart salute. Duly noted, ma'am. Amy steps back and nods, satisfied.
Good. You're not allowed to miss any of our morning runs after all.
But you missed a morning run. Amy crosses her arms and looks at me haughtily.
Yes, but that's a special case. It was me and not you.
That's not an explanation at all. Amy looks flabbergasted.
You're kidding, right? That explanation makes perfect sense.
No, it doesn't. It's a blatant double standard.
I don't see what that has to do with anything.
Oh, fine. Amy seems pleased by her victory. Anyways, Rin going to be okay? She's not terribly ill, right? Amy shakes her head.
Nope, she'll be fine. I got her some cold medicine that should help her. Although I probably should have made sure she didn't try to take them all at once. She's done it before, you know.
Somehow I don't find this at all surprising. Doubt Rin is one to pay attention to maximum dosages and such. You should probably check in on her later then, just to make sure. Amy shrugs.
I'll stop by after practice. She'll be fine until then.
I nod, figuring that line of conversation is over. The problem is I don't know what else to talk about. So, got any more track meets coming up? This is a terribly roundabout way of trying to see if she's free on the weekend. If she's free, then maybe I can ask her on a date or something. Well, assuming I can get myself to actually form the words. Amy shakes her head.
Nah, not for another couple weeks, I think. The season's winding down.
Oh yeah, came in right in the middle of things, didn't I? Does that mean exams are coming up soon? I should probably look into that. What do you do on weekends if there's not a meet? An eyebrow goes up and Amy gets a teasing look on her face.
You're awfully inquisitive today, aren't you?
I shrug and hope it looks casual. Just making conversation. I don't know what it's like to be a track star after all.
Flattery.
She waves a hand idly.
I'm not actually that good, you know. You just so happen to see me on a good day is all.
You liar.
Heh, yeah. But humility is the sign of a good athlete. At least that's what my dad used to say.
Sweetie, no. She shrugs and tries unsuccessfully to hide the rather troubled expression her face has taken on. Hey, what's up? You seem bothered by something. Amy starts to deny it, then sighs in defeat. I wonder if she's too tired from being sick to get herself to deny it like usual. Or if she actually just trusts me enough at this point to open up.
Well, you remember last night.
Do I ever? I settle for nodding, however.
That's not the first time that's happened to me. Actually, I get them kind of...
She pauses, as if it suddenly occurred to her what she's doing. It's almost like she's breaking some sort of personal rule here. But she starts up again, choosing her words carefully.
Well, not often, but on occasion. It's just been one of those weeks where that's what happens.
A sigh escapes her, and she looks terribly frustrated. I reach over and give her a hug, which, unlike last time, doesn't seem to shock her. Instead, she seems to relax as my arms wrap around her. We stay that way for a while. Hey, you know I was serious last night. You really can talk to me if stuff like this is bothering you. It's always difficult to do this sort of thing solo, you know. Amy smiles and breaks the embrace, but stays leaning on my shoulder.
Thanks, Hisao. I'll be fine, I think.
I can already see her reassembling herself, getting ready to bottle it all up again. Guess that topic's closed now. So, hey, given any more thought to that career survey?
Can't say I have. I don't tend to plan very far ahead, you know. Although I suppose I could at least start looking into college, huh?
I shrug. I suppose, unless you're serious about that pirate thing. Last I checked, pirates didn't have much need for universities. Unless there's like a pirate university out there somewhere. Emmy giggles and starts to look at a little like her old self, but there's a new element to her expression. Impish. That's how I describe it. Emmy looks impish, looking up at me with her head nestled into my shoulder.
Would you come with me if I ran off to be a pirate?
Of course I would. Who in the right mind would pass up the opportunity to be pirates with you?
Well, when you put it that way, I'm not sure.
She giggles again. I notice that my heart seems to have sped up. It's probably due to Emmy's proximity to me. A hint of strawberries again. Can't help but grin as I gaze down at her. She's happy again.
Hey, Hisao? If you're going to kiss me, you should probably do it soon. I think the lunch bell's about to ring.
My thoughts grind to a sudden halt. Pretty sure my mouth's hanging open in shock. All I can manage is a strangled, huh? This amuses Emmy even more.
You were thinking about it, weren't you?
She sits up, bringing her face level with mine.
I'd probably enjoy it, you know. You're really... well,
She briefly composes herself, looking like she's about to say something important.
if you hadn't figured it out by now, I think I've developed a bit of a crush on you. You're going to have to do something about that.
This time her grin short-circuits several important thought processes. At some point I turned toward her, and at another point her arms moved around to my neck. At yet another, my arms wrapped around her waist. I'll be damned if I could tell precisely when that happened. Because at that moment, there's only a voice in the back of my head yelling at me to kiss her. I look into Emmy's eyes. There it is. The thing I saw yesterday on the bed. It's there again. It suddenly strikes me that she's worried that I'll reject her. What a silly worry for her to have. Hell yeah. Her lips taste faintly of strawberries. She leans into the kiss and her arms tighten around the back of my head, making sure that I don't pull away. Not that there was any danger of that. There's a churning feeling in my gut. The world falls away. There's just me and her and this bench. My arms tighten, drawing her waist closer, entranced by the feel of her. I inhale her scent, my mind trying desperately to memorize everything about how she tastes, how she smells, how she feels. The ringing of the bell snaps us both back to reality and we break the kiss. Emmy's cheeks are slightly flushed and she seems to be catching her breath. In her defense, so am I. We stand there for a few moments trying to wrap our heads around what we've just done. Emmy is the first to break the silence.
So... want to grab dinner after I'm done with practice?
What a coincidence. I was about to ask you the same thing. Well, actually, I suppose it was going to be some kind of proper date on the weekend or something, but the thought was there, I think. Emmy gives me a playful shove.
Yeah, right. You were still in shock from how incredibly awesome I am at kissing.
We begin to head down the stairs back to our respective classrooms. Hey, I didn't see you talking immediately afterwards either.
That I didn't. See you after practice, Esau.
She leans in quickly and gives me a quick kiss in the middle of the hallway, sending me into another brief state of mental freefall. As I head into my classroom, a giggling Misha greets me.
Why, He-chan, you romantic you. Did you confess on the rooftop, did you?
Actually, I think it was the other way around. This sends Misha into a fresh fit of laughter.
Young love is so unpredictable, isn't it?
This being Misha, I suppose I should have expected her to tease me like this. I guess. Before I can really respond, Muto's entered the room and Misha skips off to her seat, giggling all the while. I suspect I'll get a lot of that sort of conversation now, especially seeing as how Emmy kissed me right in the middle of the hall. But somehow, I don't care about that. For the first time since arriving here, my heart feels light. Hell yeah. Act 3, baby. Man, this shit just makes me feel all happy and shit. Fucking love this story. My head's in a spin all through Muto's class. I'm going to have dinner. With Emmy. Who wants to be my girlfriend, no less. A date. And then she kissed me. That kiss. I keep going back to it, playing it over in my mind again and again. Everything about that moment felt so right. My mind drifts off, lost in thoughts of Emmy. My guy. Hello. Seems like I've drifted a bit too far. Huh? What? God, you've contracted some kind of amnesia. Someone get the nurse. The class chuckles at Muto's antics. Sorry, sir. Won't happen again and all that, right? Exactly. Muto brightens considerably. Well, lovely to hear. I'd hate to have my star pupil slacking off after all. I've been doing well, but I'd hardly qualify as a star pupil, I think. I'm fairly certain that this class is the sort that everyone does well in. It's just memorizing formulas. True to my word, I managed to pay attention for the rest of the class. My guy, may I have a word with you? I wonder if I'm in trouble for earlier. Sure. Am I in trouble? Muto looks genuinely confused for a moment. Beg your pardon? He tilts his head to one side and thinks for a moment. Oh, That, no, you're not in any sort of trouble. There's just a question I want to ask you. What's that? Nothing terrible. I was just wondering what your plans for after graduation are. You going to university? Yeah, I guess. Can't really see any reason not to go. Given any thought to what you'll study? Not really, no. I figure I'll come up with something when I get there. Muto laughs. Taking things as they come, huh? I'd argue against it, but that's how I did things when I went to university. Well, not really. I knew I'd go into a science, I just wasn't sure which one. I ended up with physics, but could just as well have gone for astronomy or what have you. Actually, I did go for chemistry first, but there were all sorts of things. Muto trails off and frowns slightly. It takes a minute for him to recover his train of thought, and I wait patiently for him to continue. So, anyway, I did a lot of physics as well, because I had an interest in that, but I wasn't sure if it was for me. So I went back to chemistry, and here we are. Yes? He smiles at me enthusiastically, as if waiting for me to confirm that yes, here is where we are. Somehow I get the feeling that Muto had a plan for this conversation, but I'll be damned if I can figure it out. I'm sorry, I'm not following you. Muto frowns and rubs his chin a bit, looking perplexed. He snaps his fingers as if he remembered what the point of it all was. Right. Yes, you. Me? Yes. You should look into studying one of the sciences. You're fantastic at it. Unless you'd rather just go into math. Muto makes a sour face. Not a big fan of straight math. I always like the experiments more than the proofs. Oh god, same. That's the thing, I was good in math in school, but fuck, I hated it. Whereas doing fucking science experiments, that shit was always fun as hell. You're saying I should study science at university. Muto seems thrown off balance by my question. Well, sort of. You could also join the science club. Trouble is, there's not actually a science club. But there could be. You could even be a charter member. A founding father. And of course you need to find other members. Well, only if you wanted to. We could just start it up with the two of us. And, I could give you things to read, and we could talk about them. And I could help you get ready for university and such as well. Wait. Muto rummages around in his briefcase and tosses me a book. Read that. If it's interesting, then we can talk about it. A brief history of time? I don't know if I actually want to read this, but Muto seems pretty excited about it. What's it about? Time. Space. Space-time. Black holes and such. It's not that dense. Just to see if that sort of thing's interesting for you, you understand? Hang around after class and we can either discuss it, or I can show you how to make explosives in the lab. He waves a hand at my quizzical expression. Joking. Sorry. Still, I've kept you here long enough for now. Think about science as a career path, Nakai. I think you'd enjoy it. Okay, I will. Thank you for the book. I leave the classroom and look at the clock. Quite a chunk of time to kill until Emmy's out of practice. Guess I'll give this book a look. Should probably shower as well. Showering before a date's only proper, right? Head back to the dorms. I wonder where I'm supposed to meet Emmy anyway. She said after practice, but she didn't say where I should find her. Guess I can just swing by the track. That's probably best anyway. If she needs a shower, I can just wait for her in her room or something. Or in the hallway, I guess. That would be better as well. Take a quick shower, remembering to take my medication once I hop out. Now for a look at this book. I wake with a start. Shit! What time is it? Glance at the clock reveals that I've been asleep for nearly an hour. Thank goodness. Emmy's practice should be finishing up soon. I throw on some casual clothes and head for the track. Somehow I get the feeling we won't be doing anything fancy for dinner. Emmy doesn't strike me as the very fancy sort of person. Still, I suppose there's a lot I have yet to know about Emmy. Despite our newfound closeness, I still feel like I don't know her as well as I should. Ah well, I have lots of time to fix that. To be honest, I'm looking forward to getting to know her more. I'm so caught up in my own thoughts that I hardly register that I'm already at the track. Emmy is nowhere to be found. Don't even see any signs of the track team. This could be embarrassing. Turn to head toward the girls' dormitory when I hear a shout. Hey, Isa! God, I love that outfit. I turn around to see Emmy making a beeline for me with a gym bag slung over her shoulder. She's changed in some decidedly more casual clothing, a pair of shorts and an olive green top. Her running blades have been replaced by more realistic-looking legs that probably wouldn't fool anyone. Emmy doesn't seem to care about that, a fact which makes me smile. Hey, you came. You're also here too. I mean, I figured you would, but still. I suddenly find myself wrapped in a rather affectionate hug. It proves to be impossible for me to keep what must be the world's largest grin off my face. Well, of course I came. I also showed up as well. That'd be crazy not to, right? Amy ponders for a moment.
You know, that's true. I mean, I'm pretty amazing after all.
I shrug in response. I certainly think so. It's an offhand remark, which is why I'm surprised to see that it seems to have caught Emmy by surprise. She blushes and smiles warmly at me before planting a kiss on my lips. Now it's my turn to be surprised. Emmy steps back, resting her weight on her back heel, looking pleased with herself. My brain fumbles for an appropriate response. I should compliment you more often. Emmy laughs and gives me a playful shove.
Jerk.
I throw an arm around Emmy's shoulders and am pleased when she immediately leans into me as if it were the most natural thing in the world. So where to?
I'm not actually sure. Where do people go on dates around here anyway?
That's a damn good question. I've got no idea. I would just head down to the Aura Mart and grab something portable. Emmy's face brightens at the idea.
A picnic! I think you're onto something, Isao.
Emmy snakes her arm around my waist and we begin to head for the front gate. I'm entirely unsure of what I'm meant to do in this situation, but at least Emmy seems to be equally clueless. Despite the relaxing feeling of being with Emmy, I still can't help but feel a little tense. What if I do something wrong? I hate to make an ass out of myself. The trip to the Automart is accompanied by Emmy's chatter about how practice went. I keep quiet for the most part, merely enjoying the warmth of being around Emmy. We get a few odd looks from passersby, but I don't mind. We wind up buying some bread and instant noodles, realizing too late that we cannot actually cook the latter in the park.
Oh well, I'll make it for lunch or something.
That'll work. The park is located after a brief loss of direction that I blame entirely on Emmy. She, of course, blames me. We find a spot beneath the tree and sit down. I lean back against the trunk. Emmy sits across from me. I guess we should have brought a blanket or something to sit on, huh? Emmy shrugs.
I don't mind.
Neither do I. Emmy tosses me a package of bread and we dig in. Curry bread. Interesting. I guess I wasn't really paying attention to what I grabbed in the store.
Hey, Isao. You look like your bread's a little spicy.
I shake my head, trying in vain to keep an image of manliness. It's hardly spicy at all.
I see. That must be why your face has gotten so red.
Yep, exactly. The lack of spice has gotten my blood up. Because of the disappointment. Emmy laughs and swallows the last of her bread.
Well, if you can't handle it, I'll be glad to take it off your hands.
Hey, just because you wolfed down yours so quickly doesn't mean I'm going to just give you mine. Emmy mock pouts, causing me to nearly choke on my bread with laughter.
Ah, come on, Isao. Aren't you supposed to be concerned with making sure I've got enough to eat now? We're dating, you know. Though,
Emmy looks troubled all of a sudden.
I can't say I feel any different.
What do you mean by that?
What makes this a date? It's just what we would have done anyway, really. This should feel different because before when we had lunch we were friends, and now we're a level above friends.
You sound like Rin. Laughter escapes and Emmy grins.
Well, she might have put the thought into my mind. We've talked about that sort of thing before.
Really? About me?
Not really, just stuff, really. Rin thinks that the change of a label from friend to girlfriend seems arbitrary most of the time. Like there's no difference between the two.
I can think of at least one, you know. You don't tend to kiss your friends quite as much. For the second time today, Emmy blushes slightly and giggles.
I suppose you're right.
Exactly. I'm always right about things like this. Emmy rolls her eyes and chuckles.
Guess you're pretty smart, huh?
I nod in agreement. Yep. Even Muto thinks so. Thinks I should go into some scientific study after graduation. Emmy raises an eyebrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, thinking I might actually do just that. Really, the more I consider the idea, the more it appeals to me. Make a mental note to look into it a little more closely. So what are you thinking of doing after graduation? Still planning on running? Emmy shrugs, seeming almost a bit hesitant.
I don't know. If I'm good enough and I can find a team, I guess.
You mean you aren't sure?
I haven't really thought about it, to be honest.
Really? Probably should, you know. Graduation isn't that far off. Emmy fidgets a little nervously.
Yeah, well, it's far enough, right? Besides, I've got other things to think about.
There's a mischievous flash behind Emmy's eyes, and I suddenly find myself gloriously pinned against the tree.
Like making sure this is a real date, right? I mean, if we don't kiss, then it's not a date at all, right?
I suppose. Strawberries and curry. Not the best combination, but I don't think I mind. Emmy sits back on my legs and grins again.
There. Science would approve, right?
I have the oddest mental image of Muto nodding seriously and making a mark on some checklist. Can't help laughing at the idea.
Well, I'll admit, this is the first time I've ever witnessed a kiss being met with laughter. Should I feel offended?
No. I'm sure science approves. Emmy beams at me, and I find it increasingly difficult to keep my brain functioning properly.
Oh, good.
It is at this point I notice that Emmy has stolen the remainder of my curry bread while I was otherwise occupied with images of teachers wielding clipboards. Hey! Emmy tries to look innocent, but considering she's just crammed the last bits of my bread into her mouth, it does not appear to be working.
I found this.
Thief! A shrug from my companion is all I get in response. You used your feminine wiles on me. I wasn't that hungry anyway, but I still felt that the point needs to be made. Emmy seems confused by the phrase feminine wiles, but the understanding dawns on her features after a moment's thought.
Was it anything of the sort? You were laughing. Feminine wiles doesn't involve laughing.
And I guess I can't argue with this. That doesn't change your thievery. Emmy laughs at my injured tone and gives me a playful shove.
Fine, you can have the instant noodles.
Are you kidding? That stuff's terrible. If anything, you should definitely eat it as punishment. Another laugh from the girl sitting on my legs, both of which have fallen asleep by now. I twitch one leg to try waking it up, which has the unintended effect of unbalancing Emmy, who falls to the side with a startled eep. Oops, sorry about that. Legs fell asleep on me. Emmy remains on the ground, giggling. I stand up a little shakily, feeling the nerves in my legs return to normal. My eyes wander over the scenery before fixing on the figure of Emmy, who has yet to get up. I love this CG so much, man. Her hair is splayed out around her head, her arms are spread, and laughter is bubbling up through her mouth. Everything about Emmy seems condensed into this one image. Her energy, her spirit, her childish giggling. The urge to lay down on the grass with her rises swiftly from the back of my mind to the forefront of my thoughts, and indeed I am convinced that I would love nothing more than to just do that. Unfortunately, the sun is set. It's probably time for us to get back to the dormitories. While Emmy may be happy to stay out here all night, I don't think I have that ability. Besides, homework soon beckons. It wouldn't make sense to start thinking about things like university and then slack off, would it? I extend a hand to Emmy to help her up. We should probably get going. Emmy makes a sour face.
You're right.
She grabs my proffered hand and I pull her to her feet and into a hug. This time I'm the one who kisses her, unable to resist having Emmy against me. Seems a shame to let you leave, you know.
Yeah, it does. But if we don't get back to school soon, we'll probably get into trouble.
Emmy pokes me in the ribs playfully.
And you need to do your homework, I'm sure.
Sadly, you're absolutely right. I throw my arm around her shoulders and we make the trek back to the school, accompanied by the occasional bouts of laughter as our conversation jumps from subject to subject. Everything from running to school to the peculiar way that one of the cafeteria workers smells. All too soon, we find ourselves outside of the girls' dormitory building.
Well, I guess I'll be going then.
I guess so, huh? Emmy grins at me again with that mischievous look.
Are you going to be able to survive without me?
I laugh. I'm sure I'll manage.
How terrible! Aren't you supposed to say something like, I'll be counting the seconds you're away?
Nah, I don't think so. Emmy pulls me down to a quick goodbye kiss and steps back, looking unexpectedly shy.
Thanks for dinner. I really had fun. Honestly, I did.
So did I. I think we shall have to do it again sometime. Emmy laughs at my deadpan delivery and nods.
See you bright and early tomorrow morning, right? You've got to run off that bread after all.
Of course, despite the fact that you ate most of it.
Yes, despite that. See you later, Hisao.
As Emmy turns to head inside, I notice something weird. Something so weird that I'm surprised I didn't notice it earlier. She's limping slightly, favoring the left leg. Hey, Emmy. Is your leg okay? Emmy looks confused, or at least fakes confusion.
What are you talking about?
Your right leg. You're limping. There's the briefest flash of concern on Emmy's face. Either she didn't want me to know, or she didn't think I'd notice. Or, I prefer to think she just didn't realize it.
Oh, that.
She shrugs casually.
I must have gotten knocked a little out of alignment during the panic.
during the picnic.
No idea what would have caused that, of course.
Think back to being pinned under the tree. Ah, you should have told me. Could have stopped and fixed it, you know. Amy waves a hand airily.
Nah, it's not that big of a deal. Don't worry about it, okay, Sal? It's fine.
Why do I get the feeling that it's Emmy convincing herself as well as me? Now see, here's where shit starts to get difficult. Because I know it is a genuine problem. Obviously, I have the foresight of someone who's already played this before. I know it's a genuine problem. But the thing is, do we press her and kill the mood? And then she's like, oh, you don't trust me? You won't take me at my word? All that. But if we let it rest, do we... I am conflicted. I am conflicted. I'm gonna let it rest. I think that's the right move here. I think, like, we've told her we're concerned and she's saying, hey, don't worry about it. It's all good. And I think at this point, we're not quite at the point where we need to press her about it. Be like, hey, no, seriously, what the fuck's going on here? I think pressing the issue is the wrong idea. I'm trying to see that's almost the problem with knowing how the story plays out, and obviously with all the time that's passed between the first time I played this, not knowing specifically what the right choices are, is like I'm trying not to act on information I already have. Because that's the thing, I remember specifically when I played through this the first time, this is one of the routes I never had to reload a save for, other than the very first one, which led to the bad ending on the common route. But I remember specifically, once I locked into the route, I never once had to reload saves. I kept managed to choose all the right options on my first run. So I'm trying to think, like, from the perspective of someone who doesn't know how the story progresses, like, what would be the right move here? How would a 2018 Vidya act in this situation? That's what I gotta lock myself into. And I think it's best to give her some space, right? We're concerned, but we don't want to overstep our bounds. Give her some space, right? Because, like, y'all just started being a thing. Clearly, you're not, like, intertwined like that. Just back off. Give her some space. Let her do her thing. Yeah, I think we gotta give her space. She's not fine. I do know that much. I do know she's not fine. Even though the text says, well, she's probably fine. I do know she's not. I still think it's best that we give her space. We take a step back and we say, you know what? Do you think, girly? Do you think? All right? I expressed my concern. You told me not to press the issue. I'm not going to press the issue. We've had a nice day today. We don't want to ruin that atmosphere. Y'all have only just started dating. You don't want to come off as, overbearing, right? Take it easy. Give her space. If it persists, bring it up again. But for now, step back. Give girls some space. I feel like that's the right move, me personally. Well, she's probably fine. I imagine she'd say something if it really was a problem. She wouldn't. She wouldn't. That's the thing, is she wouldn't. But I feel like we're too early on to be trying to, like, press issues. We're too early on to be like, no, I care about you. Talk to me. I care. And I just feel like, what the fuck who are you to be so concerned? We've only known each other for such a short while. We've only just started dating. Who are you to be so concerned about my well-being? She wouldn't say something if there was really a problem. Not right now. But I feel like it's still best that we step back, Give homegirl some space. I should probably get annoyed if I kept bringing it up. That is very much true.
Now really, I need to get going. Your attempts to keep me around are doomed to fail.
Of course. Just prolonging the goodbye, I suppose. Another grin lights up Emmy's face.
Good night, Hisao.
Good night. As she limps inside, I find myself hoping she's okay, despite her assurances that she's fine. I think I can call this a successful first date. Hell, any day that ends with Emmy pinning me under a tree to kiss me can't be bad, can it? I head back to my room, mentally thank the gods that Kenji doesn't ambush me in the hallway, and get started on my homework. The morning is far too early for my taste. Doesn't help that I had trouble sleeping last night. There were simply too many things to think about. My mind refused to slow down. Instead, I replayed the rooftop, the park, and everything else over and over in my mind. There's a small part of my mind that is still paranoid that this has all been some kind of joke, that I'll meet up with Emmy at the track and then she'll act like nothing happened yesterday. Pushing these thoughts to the back of my mind, I throw on my running clothes and open the door. Emmy's waiting for me with her usual smile.
You're late. Or at least you're not early today. Are you tired or something?
I find myself ruefully rubbing the back of my head. Something like that, yeah. Lots to think about and all that. Emmy giggles at my mild understatement.
Yeah, I didn't sleep that well either. I was actually glad you weren't early, because I wasn't early either.
I wonder if the same thing kept us awake. The image of her weeping face passes through my mind. What kept you up? Emmy's expression falters, but she quickly notices my curiosity and forces a smile.
Nothing important.
She's obviously not telling me something. The question is, should I press the issue? Something's clearly been bothering her for a while. I want to help her, but would it just come off as me being nosy? She's got to know I care about her, though. Are you sure? If something's bothering you, I'm here to help you sort it out. Emmy laughs, then, but it's not her usual laugh. There's an edge to it that seems almost bitter.
Sort it out? I'm not sure it can be sorted out, Hisao.
An almost grim smile crosses her lips. It's like a smile of resignation.
I don't think you could help me anyway.
That hurts. I don't want to say that it hurts to her, but it does. Doesn't she realize I want to be there for her when things go wrong? See, that's the thing I remember about. I think that's a lot how a good chunk of these stories play out. Is like he wants to be there, but he's trying too hard to be like a hero in their story, right? But that's the thing, you can't just be the white knight who swoops in and solves everyone's problems, right? You're not that guy, pal. I know that's a big part of like Hanako's route. That's one of like the major choices that decides whether or not you get the good or bad ending, is whether or not you're willing to step back and let Hanako, resolve her own issues, or help, or just allow her to be by herself and give her space to do her thing. I know that definitely plays a big part in a chunk of these stories. It's the fact that Hisao like, I want to be there for her, but it's like, you can't baby them because they're not a baby. They're not a child. I mean, technically, they're still seniors in high school, so technically they're children. But like, they're essentially, a step away from grown adults, right? And they've got to be able, they're able to handle their own problems, right? You gotta put faith in them that they can handle their own problems. Be there for them when they need it, but you can't just say, oh, I'll fix your problems. I'll fix your problems. Because you can't. That's the thing. They'll get mad at you if you try to do that. They snap at you and go, who the fuck do you think you are? You're not some miracle worker. You're not just gonna fix everything and make it all go away. Which is what she's lightly teasing about here. She's like, oh, it's not something that can be worked out, bud. Which is true. Hers is something that's always gonna be there. You can't fix it for her. That's the problem. He's trying to act like he can fix it for her. Like he can make the problems go away. But the thing is, you can't make it go away, but you can be there for the person when the problems arise. And that's pretty much what the story plays out to be, like how Hisao needs to fucking rethink how he thinks about these people and how he thinks about himself. She's not, on one end, she's not some weak little girl who needs to be overly pampered, and he also has to remember that he's not some savior figure who can make all their problems go away. Well, I won't push you on the matter, but I'm here for you if you decide later that you'd like to talk about it. It might help. I can see the debate raging behind Emi's eyes. It seems like she wants to tell me, but she's not sure whether or not she can. Exactly. That's the thing. They gotta come to... If they want to talk about it, they have to come to that decision at their own pace. That's another big thing about a lot of these things, because a lot of these characters have, like, something in their past, right? Well, I know for sure, once again, I keep going to Emi and Hanako, but that's because they were always my two favorites. And they do have these things in their past, right? These big incidents. That's the thing about Emi and Hanako. They were disabled due to an incident. I'm pretty sure Lily, Shizune, and Rin were just born that way. Were born with their conditions, if I remember correctly. So, like, they all have their own problems to deal with, but Emi and Hanako specifically have, like, a big point of trauma in their life. And it's like, if they want to talk about it, they have to come to that conclusion themselves. You can't force it out of them. You can't force them to confide in you. It's got to be something that happens naturally, that they decide on their own terms. We've got running to do. The mention of running, something that she can handle, brings Emi back to her usual self.
Right. Hurry up and stretch out, Hisao. We've got to get moving.
She takes off like a shot, far quicker than I'm used to. Still, I try to keep pace with her, recklessly testing my limits. Gives me a feeling of freedom, like my heart is no longer important. Find myself wanting to laugh, filled with the feeling of moving beyond what I once called my boundaries. The nurse's warnings to not overdo things echo in my mind, and I disregard them. This feeling I have, this willingness to risk a heart attack for something so trivial as a morning run, feels out of character for me. But is it? Or rather, should it be? I've got a weak heart, sure. It'll never be capable of the kind of speed and endurance Emi's capable of. Though I probably wouldn't be able to get that good even if I had a healthy heart. As we round the final bend, I feel my legs screaming in protest, but for the first time, I ignore them. I accelerate to finish at a sprint, nearly catching up to Emi. That was never going to happen, of course. Still, I feel surprisingly good. Oh, sure, my legs feel like they're about to catch fire, and I'm having trouble staying upright. There's been a shift of some sort today. It's all thanks to the girl grinning at the finish line, waiting for me. That felt a little faster than usual. My comment is met with a grin and a shrug.
Can't have you think I was going to go soft on you now, can I? But you managed to handle it just fine.
Well, couldn't have done it without you. Still feeling the high from the run and moved by a surge of gratitude, I seize Emi in a hug. Thanks. Really, I'm not just saying that. I'm in your debt. Emi seems flustered by my words, squirming uncomfortably.
Don't be silly, Hisao. Someone had to haul you out here, didn't they? It's not like you're not doing anything for me, right? I needed a running partner, remember?
I shake my head, still pointedly not letting go of Emi, who stops squirming and merely looks up at me with a quickly deepening blush that almost seems out of character. No, it's not true. You wanted a running partner, but you didn't need one. If I hadn't shown up the day after the festival, you would still run, right? But it doesn't work the other way around. I only managed to make it out a few times before the festival. Without you, I probably wouldn't have made it out at all after that. Emi smiles at me and prods my chest with one finger.
You are pretty lazy, Hisao.
Hey, I was giving you a compliment.
Well, you're welcome, I guess.
I'll pay you back somehow.
Oh, well, that's not necessary, you know. I mean, I kind of like you, Hisao. And being able to run with you in the mornings isn't exactly a bad deal for me either, so...
For someone who gets so much praise, she seems unused to gratitude. Can't think of anything else to say, so we fall silent. I become aware of Emmy's breathing, of the dampness of her clothing, and of the scent of her. Coming off anyone else, it would stink. Coming off Emmy, it fits her in a way nothing else could. Her skin is cool, slick with sweat, and a breeze causes goosebumps to rise. Almost without thinking about it, I lean down to meet Emmy's mouth, which has already moved to meet my own. Her lips are soft, and she hums happily as we kiss, sending vibrations from her mouth to mine. There's a startling rightness to everything about this moment. We fit one another perfectly. The kiss ends, and I finally let my arms drop back to my sides. Emmy is smiling warmly at me and giggles again.
Come on, Isao. Better go see the nurse.
Then it happens. As she turns to begin walking, she gives out a tiny yelp and stumbles forward. Emmy! I leap to steady her and notice with some concern that she's favoring the same leg as last night. Your leg. Emmy seems panicked and pushes away from me.
It's fine.
My expression must seem hurt. She hastens to apologize.
Sorry. I didn't mean to push you like that. I was just...
She stumbles for something to say.
It's nothing, really.
Hey, don't worry about it. She's so flustered I decided to shrug the whole thing off. There's a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach now that won't go away. Tried to step in and help her, and she pushed me away. Smiling, I shove those thoughts to the back of my mind and concentrate on Emmy. Just don't want you getting hurt, that's all.
You don't have to worry about me, honest. I'm fine.
Yes, you say that, but I don't believe you. Keep worrying about you regardless. Not saying anything yesterday just makes me feel guilty about today. I should have at least asked. Would she have reacted the same way last night? Guess I'll never know now. I'm still trying to sort out what happened on the track as we arrive in front of the nurse's office. Emmy raises her hand to knock, hesitates, and turns to me smiling guiltily.
Hey, can you do me a favor?
Of course.
Can you tell the nurse that I'll see him later? I just remembered that I've got some stuff to take care of before class. So I really need to get moving.
I peer at her closely and she fidgets under my stare. Yeah, she's clearly just avoiding the nurse. That leg of hers. Oh, whatever. I said I'd help, and so I will. But I'll make damn sure she sees the nurse before the day's out. Yeah, okay. I'll let him know. Emmy looks like I've just given her a pony on Christmas.
Thank you so much. You're the best, Isao.
I'm rewarded for my complicity in her lie by a kiss that makes it all worth it, or so I tell myself. As Emmy heads out of the building, trying hard not to let her limp show, I knock on the door of the office. Ah, Isao, come on in. I don't see Emmy with you. She's not sick again, is she? From the tone of his voice, I don't think the nurse is expecting me to say, yes, she's ill. She said that she'd forgotten to do something, and so she had to skip out, but she'll see you later today. The nurse heaves an exasperated sigh. Honestly, that girl. She's been avoiding me. Yesterday she was in and out of here without even taking off her prosthetics, and now this. At least not just me. Emmy doesn't want worrying. That's a comfort, I guess? Still, I feel like I should say something about her leg. I'd lie for her, but she really needs to see him. Now that you mention it, she was limping pretty badly today. And last night as well. There's eyes narrow at the words last night. And what exactly were you two doing last night? We were, on a date. Nurse raises his eyebrows as if surprised. Really? Interesting. Huh? Oh, nothing. His gaze turns thoughtful and then he grins at me. You don't think you could use some of that boyfriend charm to get her to come see me today, could you? Of course. I was planning on doing that anyway. I think she's really hurt and is just pretending she isn't. Yeah, she does that. Right, I'll make her stop running. Will you? I don't like to, but if it's bad enough that she's been limping, well, I guess I'll have to see what's wrong for myself before I make that call. I see. Emmy not allowed to run? Perish the thought. I don't know if she'd be able to function without running. No wonder she's reluctant to admit anything's wrong. Well, I'll make sure she sees you. Good. Oh, before I forget. He grins at me again in what feels like a vaguely threatening manner. Don't forget that I know what medications you're on. You be careful around Emmy, got it? Wow, looks serious too. Got it. Don't hurt Emmy. Wouldn't dream of it. Grand! I'd hate for you to be late. Huh? Late, as in, the late Hisao Nakai. He frowns briefly, dissatisfied. Sounded better in my head. Well, at any rate, get out of here before you miss your first class. You got things to do, I'm sure. Shoo. As I leave, I notice the nurse pulling out his phone and dialing a number. Echo, your daughter's being a pain in the ass again. I better head back to my room, or I really will be late. Hey, wasn't he supposed to check my heart rate? Lunch bell sounds, and I bring myself out of the stupor I slipped into during the morning classes. My lack of sleep last night, coupled with the increased pace of this morning's run, has left me a little exhausted. Despite that, I find myself skipping stairs up to the roof. There's a thrill of excitement now, in addition to the pleasure one gets from eating lunch with one's friends. True, both Emmy and Rin are still my friends, but Emmy has become more than that now. Rin is back in her usual spot on the roof, almost as if she'd never been absent. Feeling better, I take it? A raised eyebrow is my reward for speaking. Better than what? Better than you felt yesterday? Rin gives my question some serious thought. I'm not sure. I think I might have felt rather good for some of yesterday, but it's all fuzzy. Too much cold medicine? No, I was asleep. That usually is pretty good. But I can't remember what it feels like to be asleep, because I'm not conscious for it. It's a real problem. Then again, if I knew how good it felt, I might not sleep anymore. But this way I keep trying, so I guess that's how I can keep from being overtired. An eternal mystery to keep you sleeping at night. Maybe mystery's the wrong word. Intangibility might be the proper way to describe it. I see. No, I don't see at all. No idea what she's talking about, but that's okay since I rarely do. Do you remember what sleeping feels like? Like yesterday. Do you remember what you felt like sleeping yesterday? Well, I actually didn't get a lot of sleep yesterday. Maybe that's because you remember subconsciously. Actually, I think I was worrying about Emmy. Doesn't Emmy worry enough about herself? I can consider that, but it gives me pause. True. Would she ask for help if she needed it? Rin frowns and I raise an eyebrow. Will I get a proper answer? Probably not. There's something she should be asking for help with. Her leg, for starters. It seems to catch Rin's interest. Leg? It's hurt. She won't see the nurse about it. Rin shakes her head in disapproval. You have to make her. Like, she makes me go to class for her own good. Otherwise, she could lose her legs again. It's just too weird. Losing things twice. Especially if you don't find them again to begin with. Unless prosthetics are the same as finding something. That's a different kind of lost, isn't it? I think so. No wonder. Wonder what? Wonder what? Emmy seems to have snuck up on Rin and me, though Rin doesn't seem especially surprised, which is itself unsurprising, I suppose. Rin manages to sit herself upright quite expertly, throwing her upper body forward and using her momentum to right herself. Your leg, how's it feel? There earns me a frown and a bit of a glare. It's okay, I think. Not worth worrying about. Tell that to the nurse. He's quite insistent that you visit him, you know. Emmy pouts like I've just told her she's been grounded. He worries too much. It's not a big deal, just a little soreness. Jar's just rolling my eyes in exasperation. If it's nothing, then you should have no problem seeing him, right? Emmy narrows her eyes suspiciously. Did he put you up to this? Well, maybe. A little. That's not the point. I would have reminded you to see him anyway. It'd be terrible to see you really hurt and not do anything about it. That'll make it worse. I don't really want to see you hurt, you know. Call me crazy, but I kind of would prefer to see you happy and healthy. With each statement, Emmy's frown fades a little more until eventually she's grinning, albeit a little shyly. Well, if you're going to put it that way, then I guess I'll have to see him. Otherwise, you'll keep worrying that I'll never hear the end of it, right? That's right. I'll keep bugging you about it. That might put a damper on our dates. How's the food, Hisao? Talk to the nurse, Emmy. How's your day, Hisao? Talk to the nurse, Emmy. Hisao, I think I'm ready to go all the way. Talk to the nurse, Emmy. See, it doesn't work that well. Emmy giggles at my high-pitched rendition of her own voice and gives me an affectionate shove. My voice isn't that high, jerk. I thought it was pretty accurate. Fucking long pause. Emmy and I stare at Rin for a while before I burst into laughter. Emmy crosses her arms and huffs, mock offended. You're both jerks. Such vile calumnies from you? What the fuck are calumnies? Hold up. Google. The fuck is a calumny? Oh shit. Type. Calumny. How do I pronounce that?
Calumny.
Calumny. The making of false and defamatory statements about someone in order to damage their reputation, similar to slander, a false and slanderous statement. Okay. I never heard the word calumny before. Heard of Columbo? I don't know about no calumny. Such vile calumnies from you, young woman. I'm stunned that you would call me, of all people, a jerk. Honestly, I just don't know what to think. Emmy sticks her tongue out at me.
You ass. So Rin, how's the art club these days?
Rin seems seemingly as surprised by the sudden change of topic as I am. Takes a minute to think before answering. I believe it is okay. Although Nomiya keeps telling me to work harder. But I don't think he understands my methods.
He always struck me as slightly creepy.
Rin ponders the statement for a while. I have never really noticed. But I don't pay much attention to him most of the days, so maybe that's why. How often do you meet?
Thinking of joining Hisao?
What? Nah, I've already decided to join a club.
Really? Which one?
No, it's not really much of a club, to be honest.
Oh, you joined the tea club.
No, I joined the science club, I think. Emmy looks highly confused.
We have a science club?
No, not really. It's just me.
Hisao, that's not a club. That's sitting in your room reading books.
No, I mean it's just me and Muto. I'm just the only student so far.
Muto? Really?
A thought strikes her.
Oh, is that what you were talking about yesterday? Your meeting with Muto?
Yeah, that was our first meeting, I guess. Emmy giggles.
Nerd.
Hey, I can't help being clever.
You know, I could have used your help years ago. You should have had your heart attack earlier in life, Hisao.
I laugh and then realize it's probably one of the very rare times I've laughed about my heart attack. Hindsight.
Yeah.
The ringing of the bell ends our conversation. Guess we better go.
Yeah, I guess so. Come on, Rin. You too.
Rin has apparently begun to doze off, so Emmy gives her a sharp bump. I almost had it.
Sorry, but you need to go to class.
I disagree, but maybe if I nap in class, I'm good at this time. Changing location is sometimes helpful for that kind of thing. Neither Emmy or I bother asking what it is. As we arrive at my classroom, Emmy gives me a quick kiss and heads down the hallway, Rin in tow. I turn to enter the classroom to be met by the duo of Shizune and Misha. Misha seems to be fighting a losing battle to keep me from breaking into a fit of giggles while she translates Shizune's latest rants.
While we are pleased and thrilled to see how well you have managed to make new friends and forge relationships, and with such a cutie too, He-chan.
I think that last part was probably Misha.
We nevertheless feel compelled to politely remind you that public displays of affection are strictly forbidden. Really? That's disappointing, Shi-chan. By Section 8 of the Code of Conduct laid out in the student handbook. In this case, however, ignorance of the law may be your excuse, as we are feeling lenient. And the paperwork required to punish the both of you would only add to the already mountainous volume of work which confronts us as the sole members of the student council. And besides, you two are adorable together. Therefore, consider this a formal warning, and please refrain from such displays in the future. At least when Shizune can see you, He-chan.
This whole spiel is so patently ridiculous that I can't help but reply in the same pompous manner. Well, I, for one, feel enlightened. I apologize profusely for my rash actions and will strive to contain my baser impulses, which I fear impel me toward such inappropriate displays of public affection. It is hardly my wish to burden an already overworked student council with such petty matters, and will do my best to make your lives easier in this matter in the future. At least when Shizune is watching. This last line is delivered with a wink to Misha, who finally loses control of her laughter.
Well said, He-chan.
Chuckling a little to myself, we enter the classroom. Alright, but with that, I am going to wrap it up here for today. I'd say we made a good a good bit of progress. We finally got locked into Act 3, which is usually, I think there's only 3 acts, if I remember correctly. There's Act 1, which is like the common section where you kind of make your choice to decide which route you get locked into. Then there's Act 2, which is like the warm up to the build up to the actual relationship, and then Act 3 is the actual relationship taking place. And that's where all the drama's at. The sweet, juicy drama. That's when the story gets real interesting. That's when stakes are introduced, not the food. But yeah, as per usual, I'm loving it. It's such a blast to revisit these stories. And like even the whole time, like it's almost like there's more anticipation for like what's coming next because I know there's big drama that comes later on in this story. So it's just like this anticipation waiting for it to come along. Because I'm pretty sure when I was first playing through the story, I like, oh, her legs hurt. She needs to see the nurse. Oh, she's gonna go see the nurse. That's great. And I had like no idea like what the repercussions become of that. I don't know what the consequences of her going to see the nurse are. I don't know. I didn't know what that would lead to. I didn't know that the greater drama that would lead into. There's so much like going into this blind that it's just it seems so nice and peaceful right now. I'm pretty sure that's how most of the stories are. I'm pretty sure, yeah, like if I think about it, Hanako's it was nice and peaceful. Lily's is just like so much fun times, and then like right towards the end, it's like there's a sudden like, oh wait, but however, Lily's is one where like the drama of it kind of catches you off guard because you don't expect it. It's just like out of nowhere, here's this situation. You're like, oh shit. And now all of a sudden the relationship is in jeopardy. Oh no. Whereas even with like Shizune's, there's like hints like you can see where drama might spark with some certain characters. Same with Rin, same with Hanako. Say like you start to see where the drama's gonna spark with certain characters. And honestly, it's very true with Emmy right here, right now. It's like you can see like certain elements that are going to lead to where drama will take place, what's going to spark the drama. But anyway, I'm rambling. As per usual, I'm loving revisiting this story. It's such a blast. I love it so much. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to wrap it up here for today, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Until then, base.